My friend left me in a foreign country without anything to get home.
Looks like you need to get an Uber.
An overseas Uber.
They sell them.
This is from the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
What of our
Riley.
own?
This is one of our own, one of our children.
no.
I, 27 female, at the time was in a graduate program and befriended Kim, 26 female. We had known each other previously while doing our undergrad at the same time at university where we were now completing our masters. Kim and I became super close over the course of 2 years in our first couple of years of grad school. By the way, this comes from Gingery Kitten, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So it felt so good to be able to lean on someone who understood what I was going through. Juggling school, a job, and a social life, we connected on a level I had never felt before. She was passionate about the same topics I was, and we paired up on multiple assignments while in classes together. Now here comes the incident. This was during peak pandemic time. Kim and I were in a group with 3 other people. We'll call them A, B, and C for a class project.
Give them names.
We'll say Anne, Bailey, and Casey.
All right, Ann, Bailey, and Casey.
Anne, Bailey, and Casey. Okay. Anne and Bailey were in a relationship, and Kim was somewhat close to them as well. Our professor loved our work so much that we were recommended to present our research at our estate's therapy conference. That went very smoothly. Then Anne and Bailey found another conference where we could present, this time out of the country. I had never been to this country before, but had always wanted to go. Now I had the opportunity to share my research with other inspiring professionals. Anne and Bailey planned out the trip for us and just relayed the total amount we each needed to pay. This is where I messed up. I thought I could trust their judgment in setting up our travel plans. I should have asked for details, when we'd have time to eat and sleep, what the travel protocols were during that time due to the vid, so we sent out on the trip. Right off the bat, I was super tired since we had a late night flight and I can't sleep on planes. The flight took about 8 hours. We were served a meal and I had brought snacks, but by the time that we deboarded and went to our Airbnb, I was starving. However, we couldn't eat until lunchtime because we had to check in first. That first night at our B&B, there were 2 queen beds and a single bed. I was running on 0 sleep while everyone else had been able to sleep on the flight, so I asked for the single bed, hoping to get a bit more rest. Now, this wasn't a legit bed, more like a glorified lounging couch. It had only a thin sheet, and the place was pretty cold. We realized there were no extra blankets, so I spent the night freezing my butt off.
Oh.
The next day, we presented at the conference, and that part went smoothly, but we had to spend one more night at our cold B&B with no blankets for me. Then we finally started touring, and again, there wasn't much time set aside for proper meals. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner were rushed, and we barely had time to stop for snacks. Since we had timed tours, we had to check in on our schedule or risk missing them. At this point, I was running on little sleep, hardly any food, and sheer exhaustion. Then we arrived at our last B&B and discovered the hot water heater had stopped working as soon as one of us went to take a shower. The place was already small and cramped. It was an old city, so I understood that the water system might not be the best. But at this point, it was just another thing going wrong. Running on no sleep, not enough food, and now unable to properly clean myself, I was emotionally breaking down. That's a lot to handle in one
And it's
trip.
a cold shower.
That's hard. The night before our return flight, we all went to bed early since we had to get up in time to catch the only direct flight back to the US that day. We woke up early and dropped off at the airport, only to find out that it wasn't a 24-hour airport. Anne and Bailey, who had booked the flight, didn't realize this, so we had to wait an hour for it to open. When we finally went to check in, they asked for our last vid test, which had to be within the past 24 hours. None of us had taken one recently enough, so we had to rush across the street to a small clinic, wait for that to open, and that was another hour wasted.
Dang.
At this point, we were cutting it very close to boarding time. Anne and Bailey, who planned the trip, went in first for testing, then Kim, then me, then Casey. As Casey and I were getting our tests, Anne, Bailey, and Kim said that they were going to the check-in desk to tell the crew to wait for us. Now, I didn't like this one bit. When you're in a foreign country, you're not supposed to separate from your group. But I figured since I was still with Casey, maybe it would be okay. Once we got our results and rushed to the check-in desk, no one was there.
Oh no.
Not the flight crew, not our group members, no one. I frantically called Kim, asking where they were. She said that they were boarding the flight and begging the crew to let us on. Now, I don't believe this for 1 second.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Wait, sorry. I need more
believe it,
context.
but-
Yes, what?
Maybe they asked once, but I highly doubt that they truly advocated for us. So here I was, stranded in a foreign country I had never been to, with only one other person from our group. We had no clue what to do or where to go. The help desk told us that we needed to book a hotel for the night since the next flight to the US wasn't until the next day. We also had to buy new last-minute plane tickets, and we all know how expensive those are, especially for international flights.
So
Ugh.
where did they go?
They went on the flight.
But the flight wasn't there.
That's because everyone was boarding. So they missed.
I thought they were at the gate and they're like, they were at the wrong gate and they're like, what happened? Where is everyone?
No, I mean, that's kind of what they're saying, is that like there's no like flight crew, everyone, but I think it's because everyone was literally already on the plane. Like there were probably other people at other gates there, but yeah, they didn't do whatever they could to stop them. They just boarded.
Shoot.
What would you do? Would you board the plane, or would you wait for your group, like have to go the next day with the rest of your group?
Depends on how well I'm doing financially.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing so hot financially, sorry guys. Now, let's
Good
say
point.
like it's a group of guys
Yeah.
and they were in the wrong. I'm gonna be like, sorry guys, I'm gonna get on the flight.
Yeah.
But if it was like you and Sophia left behind
Yeah.
and it was me and another guy, I'd be like, we gotta stay back. We can't just
Yeah.
leave these girls here.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
That's my take on that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Poor planning. That's rough. I had to drop $1,500 on a new ticket just to get home. On top of that, I had to pay for a hotel near the airport since we had to wake up early, get tested again, and make our flight. Now, I was a broke college student and had budgeted this trip down to the cent. I had brought a little extra money, but not enough to cover an emergency this big. I had to charge my flight ticket and use the last of my converted money for the hotel. I didn't even have enough left for an Uber, so we had to walk 5 miles to the hotel while carrying our luggage. Oh my gosh, this whole thing is just such a mess.
That's a 10K.
Thank God the hotel had meals included, hot water, and cozy beds. Otherwise, I would have lost it. The stress, exhaustion, and lack of basic needs throughout the trip had already pushed me to my breaking point. Once we got through our layover on the new flight, I was finally able to breathe and relax, knowing I was almost home. This is where I asked myself, would I be an a-hole for going low contact with my friend after all this? On the one hand, I get it. Buying another ticket and staying an extra night is expensive. But on the other hand, I thought we were good friends. Who leaves their friends stranded in a foreign country they've never been to? But I have another question. Who is going to listen to all of our extra stories and episodes with more stories just like this one? What's the answer, Riley?
I don't know. Could it be you?
Could it be you? I think it is. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search OK Storytime. Anyway, back to you, Riley. There's more to this story.
Back to you, Riley.
That's
Just
great.
a news report.
It was never on, Riley.
Dude.
But there is more to this story. But what would you do? would you try to see what words they use? Would OP be the a-hole for going low contact with their friend?
No. Because, like,
Yeah.
I would have not left them there alone whenever you're getting your test. I understand you were kind of... That was what went wrong. They were waiting on the test, right? And then they left them?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would go probably low contact and then, like, kind of step away. Be like, all right, you know my guy? You know my girl?
Yeah.
You ain't got my back like that?
Yeah. I'm really glad that she was not alone
Yeah.
in this. I feel like with things like this, if like something goes wrong, someone's planning something, I always have to like think that I have to blame myself a little bit at the same time, being
Okay.
like, well, I was also going on this trip and like I was doing this and that. I could have done the research into all this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do we remember, was she like, she was just like fully planning it herself?
I
it
think
seems, this
she
friend.
was fully planning it herself in a way.
Yeah, but I don't
Just
know
some
why.
miscommunication happened. What happened to the group chat?
I guess
Why is
she
no one
just-
talking to the group chat?
Yeah, I guess OP just said that she like trusted her friend, and that was mistake number one. I think that's what she said.
Anyways, what happened next?
Kim also said that she tried to help me out with the cost of the ticket, but that never happened. Not even $5. Nothing. That felt like the cherry on top of an already crappy experience. My friends and family who know the full story say I'm not the a-hole. They say it was a terrible thing for Kim to do, and I know if that's true, then Anne and Bailey are just as bad. Some of their past behavior should have clued me in that they weren't the best people to trust with our travel plans. Hindsight is 2020, I guess, but what do you all think? Am I the a-hole for going low contact with my friend for leaving me behind in a foreign country?
My oldest friend was unsupportive during a personal struggle, so I cut her off.
I guess there's no such thing as friends to the end anymore.
Buckle up. This is a long one. For context, me, 37 female, and my oldest friend, 37 female, let's call her Nancy, were born about a month apart from each other. Our grandparents were neighbors, so we basically grew up together. That's fun. Until now, I guess. By the way, this comes from By Guilt By, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, although our grandparents lived in the same building, we had a very different lifestyle and upbringings. Neither of us were rich, but I grew up with happily married parents who tried for a baby for 7 years, while her mom had her when she was 19 and was forced to marry her sorry excuse of a father. She agrees with this part. I also had a very stable life, while she moved around a lot, and her only sense of stability came from her grandparents, who passed when we were teens. Her mother was super strict and wouldn't let her do anything, afraid she would repeat history. Now to the story. Since very young, even before our teenage years, my other friends always felt like Nancy was in some sort of competition with me. She wanted the same clothes, same toys, to study in the same schools. But for me, this passed like regular child behavior. And I think that up to that point, I made excuses because I knew how tough her life was. The first time I really noticed that was when I decided on a major, and she immediately decided to major in the same field. I understand that millions of people study the same thing, and I'm fine with it. It was the context that threw me off, because we were planning for UNI for a year, and not once had she expressed interest in that field until I decided to go for it. We ended up studying away together for a few months, but then I changed majors and eventually transferred universities altogether. I always said that my biggest dream was to live abroad, and when she told me she also had plans to leave the country, I was super excited. I knew how hard her life was, and whatever she could do to get rid of those toxic people, she should absolutely go for it. So she found an au pair program, and she left for Europe, and I truly think that's when her life began. It was tough, as it always is in the beginning of moving to a different country. And although I think it did her good in regard to her family, on the other hand, she became extremely competitive. At the same time, I was living in the US in an exchange program, and I was living my best life. I was a waitress, and Americans tip super well. And I won't lie, I was doing really well for myself. My parents always gave me everything I needed, but that was the first time that I could actually afford everything I wanted. So I bought an iPhone, a MacBook, digital cameras, speakers, all the electronics I could think of that are super expensive in my country that I knew I wouldn't have the chance to buy otherwise. And I traveled a lot around the country as well. I love having the latest technology, but I don't need it to be happy. If I have the opportunity, sure, but it's not something I'll go out of my way to get or spend money I don't have. And I never was the one to show what I have either, especially in my country where it's not safe. So I kept my stuff pretty much to myself. But for some reason, she would ask about it and always make a snarky comment. Cut to the latest years, she's been living in Europe for a few years already. She had a more stable job, met her husband, had a baby, and life was good. I was, and still am, very happy for her and the life she created for herself. On my side, I moved to Canada about 5 years after she moved to Europe. I struggled a lot for the first few years. I was in a super toxic relationship, and money was also an issue because as an immigrant, it wasn't that easy to find jobs. And although I speak English fluently, I came to the one part of Canada where I needed to learn French, which eventually I did. Yeah, moving to Canada where are they originally from? Are they from the US? I don't think so.
I don't think they're from the U.S. because
Yeah, because they just
she
said,
just
although I
said
speak English.
Americans,
Yeah.
Americans tip very well, like in the exchange program, and they couldn't get the technology that we have in America in their home country.
And also, it doesn't seem like they're from Europe.
No, they're not from Europe.
And they're not from Canada.
They're not from America. So I'm guessing maybe either an Asian country or a Latin American country.
Yeah, and possibly like somewhere where like family, because the mom was like forced to.
Yeah. Initially, I was going to like attribute the competitiveness to maybe cultural thing, but if within their own like community that sort of competition isn't seen as normal
Mhm.
to their own friends. I don't think that that's a cultural thing. I think that maybe it is a competition thing, but also like
Yeah.
maybe by copying OP, like the friend could have potentially associated OP with like the good parts of their childhood.
Yeah.
So they're trying to maybe capture that sort of stability or maybe keep OP in their life for as long as possible because
Mhm.
it's like they're chasing that source of
That
comfort.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, our buying power was reversed, maybe for the first time ever. And everything that I would conquer that I was excited to share with her was met with something she did better. Today, after so many years in Canada, my life is stable again. I met my partner and we have a beautiful baby boy. And I just avoid sharing if I bought something new or if I got a promotion. And if it comes up in conversation, I would try to diminish its importance so it wouldn't be a source of competition. Last December, we visited my in-laws in Europe. When I was pregnant the year prior, we had plans to go spend a part of summer with my in-laws in the south of the country. And because Nancy and her husband were going to be in that country as well for an event, we decided to spend one day together. I ended up not being able to travel, so when I said I was coming to Europe for Christmas, she decided to come visit me. Mind you, I am a guest at my in-laws' house. I cannot invite people over. She decided to go on her own with her kid, who I absolutely adore, by the way, and stay for 5 days. And although I was very happy to see her, I made sure to tell her that I wasn't even on vacation. I was just working remotely. She still wanted to come, bought the tickets, and then asked where she could stay. I gave her my in-laws' address so she could find a hotel or Airbnb close by. She did not like that. And from the moment she booked that hotel, she felt entitled to have everything else paid for. No! OP literally said, like, I'm working. If you want to come, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You decided to come. You have to be able to pay for that. You can't just tell people to pay for you.
What do you define as a friend, like Sophia? Like ever since they split apart, I don't think that they were friends.
No,
anymore.
I agree. I think that they've been in competition. It's like, I feel like you guys are friendly, but I feel like that friendship is like, it seems like it's grown apart a lot. And now it's just kind of somewhat antagonistic in ways.
If OP has to hide what she's doing, what she's buying from this former friend from Nancy, then that's not a friendship anymore. You're regulating what they see.
Yeah.
A friendship should be like supportive. This is not supportive at all.
Not at all. When we arrived, my son immediately started showing symptoms of a viral infection. Uh-oh. He was feverish, wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating. It was heck for 4 straight days. She arrived one day after we did, and my mother-in-law lent me her car to pick them up at the airport that was about an hour away from the city we were staying in. I told her about my son, who's 1, by the way, and she seemed sympathetic because her son had the same virus when he was a baby. But it turns out, no, she demanded my attention almost 24/7. I was barely sleeping, taking care of a sick baby, and on top of that, I was feeling guilty because she needed attention. And on top of that, you're working. She did not go anywhere without me and was not happy when I was late for something. My in-laws are very reserved people and they wanted to be with family only since they don't see us enough. So they were okay inviting her for lunch one day, but they didn't invite her for anything else. So I had to find activities for us without really knowing the city either, and miss a bunch of time away from my sick baby. I won't even mention work. I know, by the way, Nancy talks about her mother-in-law, that she feels entitled to rule their house because they live together, different floors, which is not my problem. You deal with your mother-in-law the way you think is best, but I respect my in-laws, and I would never act that way in any circumstances, but especially not towards them, or my parents for that matter. Also important, me and my partner had some considerable issues with one of our properties, and we had to spend basically all our savings to fix the place. I was on maternity leave for a year, and my salary was cut to less than half. Ooh.
Ooh.
The only reason we were able to travel is because his parents paid for the tickets for us to come for Christmas. Little context here, we don't own multiple properties. We both had our respective apartments when we met. And when I got pregnant, we decided to move to a bigger place, but rent the other apartments instead of selling them. She knew about all the issues we were having, and she still expected me to pay for almost everything. And I'm going to list some of the things that happened here. I paid for all the Ubers back and forth from places we visited that amounted to over 150 euros. I paid for coffees, desserts, pastries, at least not for full meals. She didn't offer to help with gas at all for my mother-in-law's car when I picked her up at the airport. She also spent over 100 euros on cheese and wine to bring back home, but never got anything to share with us or my partner's family when she was invited for lunch. She went out for lunch with the family one time, me, my partner, his parents, and our son. And when the waiter asked how to do the bill, she didn't offer to pay her part at all. and my partner had to pay for them. The last night, she had a mid-morning flight. She still didn't know how to get to the airport the next day and expected my mother-in-law to lend me the car again, which wasn't happening because it was the last Saturday before Christmas, and she needed the car to pick up stuff she had ordered from the market. Also, it's her car, and she does whatever she wants with it. If you're the one traveling, figure out your own plans. But guess what? She wanted me to rent a car to drive her to the airport.
There's a fundamental respect issue.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that she's kind of encroaching on OP and her family's plans for seemingly Christmas is pretty wild.
I feel like Nancy feels entitled to OP's time because they grew up together.
Yeah, she's like, oh, well, I'm taking the time to come visit you, so you
Mhm.
have to come hang out.
Yeah. And like, I think she sees it as like an inconvenience to her.
Yeah.
I think that there's a chip on Nancy's shoulder because she did grow up with such a hard life and now is like doing well
better.
for herself.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's maybe not 100% intentionally, but it's kind of lording it
I think
over
so.
OP
Yeah.
in some way or form.
Yeah. I was lucky enough that the city we were staying in was so little that every car rental needed a European driver's license, and not all European countries were accepted, so neither of us could rent a car there. But I found her train tickets. The train station was an 8-minute Uber ride from her hotel. She would arrive with plenty of time to get an Uber and go to the airport, which was another 20 minutes. She was upset because she would have to wake up earlier than she planned, but accepted. Oh my God. I sent her the train options and the link for her to buy them, and her answer was, you can buy the expensive one. And guys, I did.
She's not even paying for anything.
Dude, I would be like, oh, sorry, I can't do that. And just don't respond. Not only that, but the next day I woke up super early, got an Uber, picked them up at the hotel, dropped them off at the train station, and took an Uber back to my in-laws. Now you must be thinking, what a me? And you're right. But honestly, I was so exhausted because of my baby and the lack of sleep that all I wanted was for them to leave. I could not come up with the energy to do anything else. And it's not about the money. Obviously, I'm worried about the money because I don't have much right now, but it's more about the principle. Because if I had the money, I wouldn't care about paying for her. In fact, I've done it several times before when I knew I was in a better position. I'm still very upset about that, but there were also some other messages and comments that really threw me off. Like her buying a super expensive running smartwatch and she doesn't even run. But I have one my parents gave me for my birthday because I do run. Another trying to one-up you.
We're going back to the copying of what she has.
Yeah.
Even when she's doing better.
Yeah.
She's still trying to compete.
Why are you acting like this? One day I woke up to a message, completely unsolicited, asking me if she could consider changing her upcoming trip to our home country tickets to premium because it was only 500 euros more. Oh my goodness. By the way, you can listen to premium full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left. Insane that this woman was like, OP, can you pay $500 for me, please?
I think part of it stems from OP saying that she's done it before.
Yeah.
She's paid this before.
She keeps doing it. I mean, she did it with the Uber. She did it with the train tickets. She just keeps letting her friend, quote unquote, get away with all of this. And so her friend's just going to keep taking money until you put your foot down.
I feel like part of it might be like just a feeling since they did grow up together.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a feeling of protectiveness. Like that maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
She
Like
said in the
feels
beginning
like
she
owes it.
recognized that Nancy is not from the best of backgrounds. And like friends tend to be protective of each other.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're not friends anymore.
No.
She's being taken
You've just
advantage
know,
of.
like she's just a person you've known for a really long time. But there is a little bit left to this story. I just answered, if you have the money, why not? But inside I was screaming like, come on. And you couldn't have contributed to one Uber ride, one coffee, not even asking to pay for me, just yourself and your son? I think she's saying that she's going to pay the 500 euros, but OP is upset because she's like, if you had the money to pay for a premium ticket, why were you asking me to pay for everything? Which is still, the issue is still the same, but it's just slightly different.
See, I read it as she was asking OP to bump up their tickets.
That's what I thought.
To the premium because they're only 500 more.
Which is also crazy because instead of just doing that, she's telling OP that she has the money. She's like, yeah, I'm going to pay 500 euros more.
Mm-hmm. It's rubbing it in her face.
Yeah. I've thought about talking to her before cutting contact, but I'm not confrontational. If it wasn't obvious, I'm a people pleaser. It was very obvious. And I know she would get defensive because one time I disagreed with her and she got really pissed. And I'm too tired to go there. Am I the a-hole for wanting to go low contact? No. Honestly, it should have been low contact years and years ago. Like, I feel like you just keep letting her kind of come back into your life and exploit you for money. But that is the end of that story.
I lent a hand to my almost homeless friend years ago. Now I can't get him to move out.
Kick him out of there.
No, then he'll be homeless again.
Yeah, wait, you can't do that.
That's rude.
I allowed a veteran friend of mine and my husband, whom I have known for 20 years, to move in with us. My husband, also being a vet, agreed to let him stay when our friend who he lived with sold his home and he had nowhere to go. By the way, this comes from user MoreUnderstanding24, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit and submit them there. So, when we talked about him coming, I let him know I'd give him 2 or 3 months to get settled and find a job, and then he would need to pay $500 a month for rent. That covered his room, his own restroom, the use of our Wi-Fi, cable TV, all of the streaming platforms, the washer, the dryer, and the other household things, including the fridge. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. I mean, when you're not paying for really, you just have to find a job in that. That's pretty good.
When he moved in, he was super happy and grateful, saying he was going to find work quickly. He was doing well at first, going for walks and actively trying to lose weight. This friend of ours is at least 450 to 550 pounds. In his mid-50s, we are 40, diabetic, and had not gone to the doctor in years. My husband took him to the VA and got him set up. He was walking with my 14-year-old and losing weight until he wasn't anymore. Since he wasn't paying rent, we told him he could help out around the house and cook breakfast for the kids with the food I bought. We fed him dinner every night, and if we got food from a restaurant or fast food, I fed him too. So you're just getting like another kid to take care of, essentially. I offered him a little brewski after he mentioned that he hadn't had one in a really long time and missed it. I said, we don't really drink much, so help yourself. My husband pointed out some things that were off limits. A week or two later, my daughter woke up and told me she heard a bang. I went downstairs and found that he had fallen. We got him up and into bed, but it happened 3 more times over the next few weeks. He was also up at odd hours and super noisy. At that time, I was working 2 full-time jobs, and my husband and kids were in full-time college and school. I put it on the back burner, assuming it was just diabetic issues, and told him to make an appointment with his doctor. Maybe 2 months went by, and I had a particularly hard day. I went to grab a drink and noticed my entire liquor cabinet, probably $300 to $600 worth of alcohol, was gone. He drank everything. Yeah, so clearly this was a guy who had problems.
Well, I mean,
with
he's a
that
veteran. That often comes with it of like, you know, you've gone through something really hard.
Yeah.
And the government doesn't support you. And now you're having to pick up the slack of something that you shouldn't have. You probably don't have the funds for or the resources to handle. Someone
True.
has it might have mental, health problems.
At the very least, a very massive self-control problem here.
Yeah.
He drank everything, including my Zima, which you can't buy anymore, and the bottle of champagne we were saving for my husband's graduation. I confronted him and he cried, saying he was embarrassed and sorry. I asked what gave him the idea that help yourself meant drinking everything. He had no answer, just blamed his back issues and emotional trauma. I put my foot down and told him that was it. It had been 7 months and he still hadn't found a job. We were struggling financially and he needed to start paying rent. He agreed. 3 months went by, which means we're now at month 10 and nothing. That's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of nothing.
You don't have the resources to help this man.
He just sat in his room, used his food stamps to buy candy and junk food from Amazon and the store, gained 100 pounds, and let his diabetes get so bad that his skin was bursting open. That's pretty graphic.
Especially for your kid, too, to be there.
This guy needs a hospital.
Yeah.
Because the sores that you can get from diabetes is pretty gruesome.
His legs were so swollen, his wounds wouldn't heal for months, and he refused to get up. He did nothing but sit at his computer all day, every day. The rest of us left for work or school, and I reminded him again that he needed a job. If you cooked or came out to have a meal and watch television, he would come out and talk your ear off about whatever he was obsessed with at the time or share outdated opinions. It was so bad that I started avoiding going downstairs at all. Then my husband's health took a turn. He collapsed one day and we found out he had stage 4 kidney and lung cancer. As I was still working 2 jobs and the kids were in school, I asked our roommate to use our snowblower to clear the sidewalks and driveway. He went out for 3 minutes, then came back in saying his back hurt and he couldn't do it. My husband, despite his illness, ended up doing it himself. Yeah, this is when it's like you're out within like the next 2 weeks, or I call the police.
Yeah.
Here's the shelter, go to the hospital, here's the VA.
Exactly. You give them, you lead them to, resources that can help them, but you can't.
Every Every day, my husband shoveled the snow with only me or our 14-year-old helping him. I was furious. I told our roommate it was BS that he couldn't even help with that while living here rent-free. My husband had part of his kidney removed, he now only has one, and was told not to lift over 10 pounds for 6 weeks. The roommate still didn't help with anything. Then my mother-in-law said she was coming to stay with us for a few months after my husband's surgery. We gave the roommate 3 months notice to move out. He had a breakdown crying to my husband that it wasn't enough notice and that only he was getting the crappy end of the stick. He's got stage 4 cancer.
Come on.
His stick has plenty of crap, dude.
The thing is, I think that you need to have a conversation with this man that's not just like, hey, you need to pay rent. You need to pay rent. Like, I need to do something. It's like, hey, we no longer can house you because we are going through our own problems here
Yes.
and our own our own health problems right now. Unfortunately, we've given you a lot of time, but you have to move out. And like, we'll help you find those resources, but you have to go because you're dealing with your own things that require a lot of money and a lot of like wherewithal mentally to be able to process and handle all of that stuff that's going on with cancer. Yeah.
Giving him a quarter of a year
Yeah.
to move out. Should be enough time for anybody to figure that out. I was livid that he actually said that to my husband. I reminded him that most landlords only give 30 days notice, so he was lucky. We set his move out date for July 30th, but he's still here.
That's when you like take all of his stuff out.
Police.
Yeah, you get him out of there.
Man, what a terrible situation to be in, though.
So
like,
terrible.
To be put in that spot.
Yeah.
You known this guy for 20 years. He's just abusing your good nature.
Your kindness, yeah.
My mother-in-law has had to change her flight 3 times because we don't have anywhere to put her. The roommate has given us 3 different move-out dates, and each one has come and gone. Now we've told him that he needs to be out by the end of the month, or we're moving mother-in-law into his room. She hates him. He said he would just go live on the streets, but I told him no. He had months of notice and did nothing until last week. Now he's waiting for a background check to go through so he can go to a men's shelter, and the Catholic Church is helping him too. He's pretty much disabled, so I offered a year ago to help him apply for disability. He told me that he had a caseworker helping him apply. That was a lie. He didn't want to apply because it would affect his retirement. Turns out he hasn't worked in 6 years and was living off our other friend the entire time. There's so much more to this, but as of now, I don't see an end in sight. I'm uncomfortable in my own home. My downstairs living room, kitchen, and common areas are a huge mess, and he doesn't even do his own dishes or clean up after himself. I just want this over and him gone. It's caused problems in my marriage and my family. I now never want to help anyone like this again. I've helped a lot of people in my life, and it has always bitten me in the butt. I just need him to go. And there are some comments here. Number 1, he's not your child. Get him out already. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
OP says, I know, you're right. I just didn't want to formally evict him. I didn't want that on his record.
Unfortunately, he didn't give you any choice. You have told him so many times kindly, and you have given so much time. You have to formally evict him at this point if he's not going to leave otherwise.
If he's not going to get out.
Yeah.
A reply to this, how on earth do you expect him to get out without doing an eviction? I reread your post, and he will be living with you until one of you passes away or you start the eviction process. It can take a long time. You're really not doing your family or him any favors by continuing to enable him and not pushing for an eviction as soon as your agreement first started getting broken. You can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. All you're doing is burning yourself out for someone who doesn't really care about you. Reply to that, no wonder the last person to help sold their property. Can you imagine? Could that be why
It got
they had
so
to sell the
bad
house?
that-
They're
yeah.
like, look, you can't live here anymore. I'm selling the house. All right, you can't live here.
Maybe.
That's
It
crazy.
might have been like he was behaving terribly and they were already going to move out, but
I would hope it was at least
Yeah.
that, or we need to start growing spine.
yeah.
Comment number 2. He doesn't care enough about you to treat you with any decency. You are being far too kind. Let me put this to you in a different way. You are a mom. You have a child who is having to live with this choice. How is it affecting your son? How does he feel? My parents used to collect broken people, and they always took advantage. I had people stealing my stuff, and it eventually got so unsafe I moved out. It took me a long time to go no contact with them. They weren't saints. They were doing it to get access to babies. They love babies. It's crazy. My point is, I still hold a lot of hurt over my parents choosing these users over me. They had a duty to provide me with a safe home, and they weren't doing that. Instead of feeling bad for this freeloader, think of your son. Think of the things he is putting up with. Think of what he will go without because you have to spend it on this man. Is your son missing out because you have to do things for this man? Has he been able to live his life like a normal kid? Or does he not have people over because of the mentally unstable regular user who keeps falling over in his house? You have a kind heart. You want to help, but you can't. You need to protect your family. Comment 3, the best thing that you can do for him is force him to leave leave and face his circumstances. You can't enable him anymore. He will keep doing this as long as you let him do it. He needs to hit rock bottom if he's ever going to get up, even if that's the street. He created this situation. OP says, you are not wrong. It just kills me to think of someone I cared about in the street being someone who was homeless years ago myself. I have to let it go and let what's going to happen happen. I even called his family and they want nothing to do with the situation at all. And here is the update. I think we're all in agreement, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta evict him. Which
you gotta
is really
you gotta
sad.
be like, you're out of here by this date, and if you're not out of there, police are being involved.
Yeah.
Official
It's gonna go on your record.
hits to your record are gonna be involved.
Opie was doing something out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
And
And you were taken advantage of.
so badly. Yeah, it's crazy. And now you're anxious of being home. And like, I kind of had that with a roommate in college, and I was just like so stressed to be downstairs because it was so dirty. And like, even I've told him like clean up. It's just like I wanted him out, but I couldn't get him out. It just felt bad. I had to like live in my upstairs room. That was it.
Yeah, I've had friends who have also been in situations like that with roommates. It's just like you don't know what. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to out annoy a roommate?
I tried
To
to
out bother a roommate?
I've never had to do that. So
I've tried it, but it's like that's not who I am.
Here's the update. Hello again, all. I figured some of you might be wondering what happened since my last post, which can be found above. Since this post, we gave him a move-out date of early September. My husband talked with him literally daily about his plans to go, as it had now been 5 months since we initially told him he had to move. He told us he had found a wonderful vet's home that would take him in upon approval, as well as give him his own room, 3 meals a day, and counseling. So the day before he's supposed to be out, I text him to ask what exactly the plan shall be for tomorrow. He tells me he's going, but he hasn't slept well the last few days, as he hasn't been able to get a hold of any of them. The morning comes and my husband has to knock on the door to wake him up around noon to ask what the plan was, as the place he's moving is an hour away and I might have to use one of our cars to go to work. He says he doesn't know. My husband starts calling every single veteran resource and asking for help, stating his situation and needing him to go so his mom can come stay with us to help. He asks all the places this friend had claimed to have applied to the status of his application, and they had never heard of him.
Eviction. Unfortunately,
Full blown. This
eviction.
guy's committing a crime against you, essentially.
Yeah.
My husband loses his crap and has a breakdown to the director of a veterans homeless program. And the guy feels so bad for my husband that he tells him to bring him now and they will take him.
Thank God. Oh my God. You just need to sob in front of someone and say, please.
This guy's ruining our lives. And he does need help. To be clear, this is a guy who needs a lot of help. It's just he's
like
not
he
going to get
has
it from
mental
you guys.
health issues. That's clear.
Husband packs his crap up and throws it all in the car with a friend of ours, and the vet friend gets angry, saying he's being rushed out.
Dude, you don't get to say you're being rushed out when it's been like 7 months.
It's been longer. It's been like a year at this point.
Been a year.
So, excuse me, what? If I had been there to hear that, I might have yeeted this man in the car and out of my life even faster. How is giving someone 5 months to move rushing them? So they go to the original home that the vet applied at, which is apparently like the Ritz-Carlton. But he can't go there because there's a 2 to 3 month wait list. So he has to go 10 minutes down the road to the other facility. It's run down. He has to share a room, but he gets 3 meals, free internet, and television. He's not happy. Of course he's not happy. The lady comments, what did he expect? A 4-bedroom house? She goes on to take my husband by the hand and tells him, you don't worry about him anymore. He's a grown man and needs to step up for himself now. We will take care of him. Go home and take care of yourself now.
Sounds like a nice lady.
What a nice lady who's clearly a professional at what she does. And by the way, you can be professional at listening to us if you go listen to full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcasting platform, be that iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Wherever you listen, just search OK Storytime and there you will find the archive. And it is complete. 50 days long at this point. That's 24 hours times 50. Someone do that math. That's a lot of hours. Let's go ahead and finish this story. My husband has a heart of gold, guys. He really didn't want to go until he knew he would at least be okay. He said there are on-site therapy groups and they even take them to weekly checkups through the VA so he will get his diabetes under control.
That's great.
That is great. And us, well, we both can't believe how quiet it is and how free we feel again. We actually talked and laughed together for the first time in a year. He's gone and I have my home back. Thank you to everyone who gave us advice. I read them to my husband and I told him you all gave me the turbo boost in my behind that I needed. Thank you. Comment. Wait, hopefully we do not see another post from you in 6 months saying that your husband is healthy and your mother-in-law won't move out. Haha, you guys are awesome. Okay, so yeah. Also, may your husband be better.
Yes.
And now that you don't have that guy to deal with,
hopefully
I bet you
you're
the
able
health
to focus on that.
will be the main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But that is
And
the
also,
end of that
it's
story.
so much easier to like get your health better when you are in a better state of mind. That's
if there's
just
peace
like,
around
yeah.
you,
It does.
then
It does
it's easier
tend
to bring
help
the
with
peace
healing.
within you.
I'm secretly in love with my friend, but I mistakenly set him up with my other friend.
You should set him up with your alter ego.
Ooh,
or
time
maybe
to
another personality.
Ooh, time to set it down. I, 24 female, have a friend, 22 male, who I've known since high school. We'll call him Jordan. When we met, we quickly became friends, talking during free periods and playing iMessage games almost daily. I was in 10th grade and he was in 9th. By the way, this comes from Smooth Comment 1148. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. But a little while into our friendship, he expressed interest in me. But at the time, I was in a relationship that started the same year I met him and ended about a year after I graduated high school. I rejected him. We never revisited the idea, and we've been great friends ever since. Over the last several months, I've slowly but surely started developing feelings for him that I hadn't had before. I've always assumed that our relationship would stay platonic, but I see him in a different light now. I had been contemplating for a while now whether or not I should say something for multiple reasons, but mostly out of fear. What if we get together, don't like it, and have trouble getting back into our normal relationship as friends? Or what if our vibe isn't the same when we're in a more serious relationship? What if he's no longer interested after I rejected him years ago? What if she gets rejected?
Ooh, these are all terrible options that are very real.
Ding, ding, ding. You are the loser in every scenario.
No.
We're such good friends that I don't want to lose what we have, and I am afraid that pursuing romance with him would lead to too much room for error. Yesterday, I had a birthday and planned a short trip to a surrounding city over the weekend, about 2 hours from my home. I rented one of the nicest gathering homes I've ever seen, invited a handful of friends, old and new, and celebrated. I was slightly unprepared and stressed out most of the time, but for what it was worth, it was a great weekend overall. But handsome Jordan, he's back, was so helpful to me during the whole planning process. We were talking almost every day. He ran errands for me, helped me pay for a few things, took the weekend off to come on the trip with me, was constantly checking in on me, and did literally everything he could to try and eliminate as much of my stress as possible. He was a lifesaver, and I have no idea how I would have done any of that without him. He's the reason I didn't cancel the whole trip due to all of the stress of hosting. At this point, I was leaning more towards telling him how I really feel about him and started working up the courage to do so. Now, during the second day of the trip, my best friend, 24 female, who I've been friends with since middle school, drove up and joined the trip. We'll call her Maya. During the short time she was there, Maya and handsome Jordan got acquainted, started hanging out quite a bit. So I noticed handsome Jordan constantly checking for her and watching out for her. I didn't think too much about it because he's generally just an attentive person, but I did notice it. By the end of the night, after we had all gotten back to the house from being out, Jordan and Maya both hopped up and announced they were going to the diner down the street that was open late. They quickly invited everyone as they were rushing out of the house to go, but we all declined since we had food left over from the night before. Just keeps swinging back and forth.
Ooh.
It was 3 a.m. and it was so abrupt. Maybe an hour or so later, I saw they had returned, but stayed in the car for a really long time before coming back inside.
Oh, dude, they totally smooched. They totally smooched.
That's when I really started to worry that something was brewing between them. I had another friend come back to spend the second night with us, and our sleeping arrangements changed. Handsome Jordan ended up offering Maya his room to stay in since he works the night shift and planned staying up all night to help up tidy the house before we checked out the next morning.
Oh, come on.
He continues to be the perfect person.
I mean, and also they're getting close.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
he's giving
getting
her
close.
the room technically, but he's like,
well, wait, but he's not staying in that room.
technically, yes, he's not
Technically,
staying.
he's not staying in that room.
Yes.
Okay, but he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I left a sock in there.
Fast forward to when we left and all went back home. Handsome Jordan thanked me for inviting him and let me know how much he had enjoyed all of my friends. Then he specifically mentioned Maya, and I jokingly but seriously hinted at them falling in love. Oh, he's like a joker, like during the trip, and threw in that I picked it up on their connection. He jokingly responded that it was my fault for leaving them unattended. He then explained that he was feeling her but couldn't handle another heartbreak, and that the only reason he didn't exchange information with her was because he had recently cut his hair and wasn't comfortable with it.
Handsome Jordan, come on.
By then, it was clear to me that he was heavily interested, especially since I had already suspected there was something there. I'd be lying if I said the confirmation didn't feel like a to my chest. He wanted her number, and I reached out to Maya to make sure she was okay giving it to him.
Reach out into the depths of your heart and say something.
And of course, she was okay giving him her number.
Oh, dude.
And that was it. Now I've just been left feeling heartbroken. And it's hard to even put it into words. My feelings are so hurt, not because of anything they didn't know after all, but because I was too late. I guess I could have told Maya how I felt, but I didn't feel the need to. I didn't think she would come for a day and immediately hit it off with my friend out of nowhere. I genuinely thought I had more time to think about how to express my feelings for Handsome Jordan and when, but I guess not.
No time like the present.
Time
my
like the
friend.
present. How crazy would it have looked for me to step in between them the second I realized they had a connection and try to stop it at the last minute? Why didn't you say anything? Or why'd you wait so long? I really don't know, but I guess it just didn't feel right to mention it to Jordan because that's not the way I wanted him to find out about how I felt.
I guess that's true. It's like bad timing, but you know what's worth timing? When they've kissed, when they smooched.
Or no timing at
Yeah.
all. Again, it's like back to what's the best time 20 years ago? What's the next best time?
Now.
Today. Right now.
Carpe those DMs. Seize the present.
Tarp 'em. I think OP also maybe has like a lot of like anxiety and like other feelings around being able to express these. I'm getting a lot of overthinking.
Yeah.
You know?
But right now, there's no official reason you shouldn't say anything. There's no legal reason.
No.
You're not infringing on an established relationship. You're not making, like, you're complicating your friendship, but that's your own prerogative. You can do that, you know?
Yes.
You're not hurting anyone else's relationship right now.
I think
a budding relationship, it's you know, it's all is fair in the beginnings of love.
As long as, like you laid it out, you're like, I'm just expressing how I feel. I know it might, you know, change things, but I don't want it to. I don't have any asks. I just.
And you know what might happen with Jordan? Jordan might be like, maybe I should be confident with my current haircut. You know, he's having two ladies going after him with short hair. He's like, all right, you know what? This might be working for me.
It's gonna make him run to Maya that much.
Yeah.
Sooner. We have T-7 days right now before it's just like full
The
grown in.
confidence
He's
is
gone.
2 through the
He's
roof.
gone.
He's gonna go straight to Maya. But right now, you got him. You got him.
Well, I wanted to be so much more intentional about having that conversation, and right in the midst of him expressing his feelings for another person, just didn't feel like the right time. Maybe I shouldn't have played matchmaker either, but again, I really don't know what I was supposed to do. I haven't talked to Maya or anyone about any of this. This just happened 2 days ago, so it's fresh, and I'm hurting so bad. Handsome Jordan and I have talked about other people we were interested in before, but it's so much different when it's my best friend. I really thought I had more time, but who am I to expect someone to wait on me to be ready to tell them I love them past friendship? Do I say something or just leave it alone? Probably gonna leave it alone since we're already kind of in deep.
You're not deep. They've just asked for each other's numbers.
Which
you helped with.
Yeah. Which again, I like props to her, but then it should have been like, all right, I'm not gonna like mess with this, but let me express my feelings. Because if she did, that would be not.
If she did what?
If she was like, oh, let me just like fumble oops, I forgot to send the number. Ooh,
Yeah.
I sent you the wrong, you know, like
Yeah,
you could
that would have been
devious
whack.
about it.
I think, the best time would be to say it before all of this.
Yes.
Second best time would have been to say it when he's asking if there was a connection. And now the third best time is before they smooch.
Yes.
And the
Imminently
fourth best
approaching.
time is before they say it's official.
Yes.
And the fifth best time is before they say the I do's.
I will say post
how it works?
smooch does make it a lot harder.
Post smooch makes it a lot harder.
A lot harder.
I would say post smooch you might have lost your chance.
You know what? Just date both of them at the same time. Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Hannah Montana said that and she meant it. They exchanged numbers and are probably talking now anyways. So what's it worth? I know Handsome Jordan can sense there's something up with me, but I just don't know if I have the heart to tell him after literally him helping me be with someone else who is my best friend. I just don't know what to do, and I want to cry. I want to redo the whole weekend, fix this before it even gets the chance to happen. I'm so hurt. What would you do?
I hope everyone was screaming in the comments, say something before it's too late. Don't let love be lost.
Something
say
or nothing.
something or say
You
nothing.
gotta say something, especially if you're like torn between yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds
out.
like OP is really, really caught in the middle.
And again, like, okay, 2 scenarios. You can not tell him, but it'll probably just drive you crazy and you'll just have to like constantly kind of be a bit of a different version of yourself around him to avoid that. Or you could tell him and at least you won't have this like just sitting on your heart and hopefully try to just just build the friendship and connection from
And
there.
this is basically what you're saying, but it recontextualize it. Either you're going to hurt the relationship from telling him, possibly, or definitely hurt the relationship from keeping this buried beneath and you like being affected by it.
Yes, that is a very good way to put it. We have the big fat update. We're not even halfway done with the story, by the way. Thank you guys so much for your comments. The whole situation has been The plot twist of the year, and it's only the first week of March. This is recent, kind of. I had a long chat with my cousin to try and work out my feelings and get some advice in real time. Once I was able to clear my head, I decided to reach out to both Maya and Handsome Jordan the same day I made the original post. I had already made up my mind that I was just going to express my feelings, explain my actions to both of them, and fall back from my friendship with Handsome Jordan. I didn't plan on changing anything about my relationship with Maya because she's my best friend. She was oblivious, did nothing wrong, and I'm a girl's girl after all. Handsome Jordan didn't do anything wrong either, but this was more of a bros before O's kind of thing. If Jordan was going to be her man, I felt like it was only right that I respect that, tell them both the truth, and put some space between Handsome Jordan and me, heal up and move on. So I spoke to Maya first. I told her the whole truth, exactly what I told you guys. I added that I was going to be reaching out to Jordan as well to set up some boundaries in our relationship. But Maya felt absolutely horrible, which made me feel bad too. She explained that she was just trying to have fun, flirting carelessly to pass the time. She did enjoy the conversations they had and didn't mind continuing to talk with him after the trip, but she didn't intend on taking him seriously and just thought that he was really cute. She was going to keep things going, play with him until she got bored.
Jesus.
Ouch.
Okay.
Dude.
Call dibs on this man to protect him from Maya.
Freaking malicious Maya over here. Golly. And then move on to the next thing she normally does with other men. I'm paraphrasing, but these are her words. I promise I'm not being shady.
Save this man from Maya. See, dibs does work.
Maya also mentioned that she thought Jordan seemed like a well-rounded young man, but was way too young for her and couldn't see him giving her what she needed in a long-term relationship. Context, Maya has 4 children under 6 years old and has always dated men who are significantly older than us. Jordan will be 23 soon and isn't really her speed, I guess. We've talked for a while about the details and concluded that this was all a big mishap. Going back to the whole girls thing, I wasn't sure what to do with this info because I normally would never want to be with anyone who has dealings with my friends. I left this conversation feeling so sticky.
But they just asked for each other's number. There's nothing there.
Again, I think OP might be going into her overthinking.
Yeah, in her head,
but they
yeah.
they were like talking and like going 3. It's cool. There's a way. On the one hand, I didn't know what Jordan's intentions were with Maya and wanted to be a good friend to him. I wanted to let him know what Maya's intentions were to protect him from any potential hurt. On the other hand, I wanted to stay loyal to Maya since I was sure this was info she hadn't planned on sharing with Jordan. Luckily, Maya ended up letting me know that she no longer felt comfortable talking with Jordan now that she knew my true feelings. She was going to ghost him. So now I no longer feel like I'm in such a pickle harboring secrets. Both conversations happened through text, by the way. I then spoke with Jordan. Although I had already gotten a full understanding of where Maya's head was, I still didn't know exactly what had gone on between them, both on and after the trip. I didn't ask either. I stuck to girl code, laid out a very simple explanation for Jordan. I told him I still wanted to be friends, but expressed that I needed some space, that his access to me would be limited, that I didn't want to just disappear on him for a while and not at least let him know why. I unshared my location with him and removed him from a friend finder and expected that to be the end of it. I was so very wrong. So Jordan works nights and was asleep when I texted him, which I knew. When he woke up and responded, he was devastated. He said he wanted to talk further about the whole situation because he was having a really hard time accepting me wanting to fall back from him. He told me he's had feelings for me for years and they'd never gone away since the first time he expressed them back when we were 15 years old and 16 years old, respectively. Apparently, he had planned to try to shoot his shot again during the trip and couldn't seem to nail the right time. The day Maya got there, she unintentionally slipped some misinformation to him during their parked car convo that made him lose hope. Remember when I said that another friend had come back to the house and sleeping arrangements had changed? That friend, let's call him Mike, 21 male, wasn't supposed to stay with us initially, but ended up sending money and staying at the last minute. The first night, I allowed Mike to sleep in my room. It sounds crazy, but there was plenty of space in there. We were nowhere near each other, and that was it. I was trying to be a good host and make sure my guest had somewhere to sleep. I didn't want to be selfish and keep a room to myself if someone didn't have a comfortable sleeping space, so I shared. I didn't know Mike was coming back, but when he did, I let Maya know, and we texted briefly about sleeping plans. The convo was happening while she was in the car with Jordan. I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable sleeping with a random stranger, so I gave her the option to sleep in the room alone and said that I would keep Mike company for a while in the living room before going to bed. That way his stay wouldn't be pointless. Maya volunteered to sleep on the couch and then basically blurted out to Jordan that Mike slept in my bed the night before and was coming back to sleep in there again, and that she'd be sleeping on the couch because Mike was sleeping with me again.
She is really going a little far.
Maya, I get a feeling like Maya is the fun friend, but not the together friend. Because of Maya's delivery, lack of knowledge about Mike and I's feelings for Jordan, Jordan felt like Maya was implying that Mike was my man and that I was punting her out of the room to sleep with him. I got none of this info from Maya until Jordan told me when I asked her. I was also informed that Maya was wearing some skimpy PJs and tried to invite Jordan to lay with her in the bed. He declined and slept on the couch himself, sad all night, thinking that he had lost his chance with me. So we talked it out. It got a little heated, but stayed respectful. We were both pouring out very heavy feelings and frustration, so I understood. Jordan told me that he just felt hopeless and wanted someone to talk to, that they weren't talking about anything beyond the surface, and that he didn't want much to do with her either, just someone to keep him company, and she happened to be there. He also said that if he had known how I felt, he would have never chosen my best friend over me, and especially not right in front of my face. He reassured me countless times that he wants me and not anyone else. He said this was all just a big misunderstanding and that if I would give him the chance, he'd show me and make it right. I thought on it for a few hours, my work, and accepted. The next day, Jordan came to my house to bring me lunch and chat in person. When I opened the car door, there were dozens of white roses in the passenger seat with food from one of my favorite restaurants, my exact order.
Jordan! Oh, he knows her so well.
He drove 25 minutes there and back to get my food because we don't have a location super close to us. I felt so warm, happy inside. We sat and talked for 3 hours in the car.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
And this was only supposed to be a drop off.
All right, again, this is what happened. This was like so poorly executed, but this is what happens when you communicate early and often.
Yes.
You communicate your friends to maybe give you a little space to pursue a romantic interest that you have, aka dibs, and you have the confidence to execute it well, which was not done in this case, but still good.
One thing I will compliment OP on is she was at least always trying not to, like, I think,
Mess anyone up.
mess
or,
anyone
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Like, sometimes to
To
the
the-
detriment of her and the situation.
I think she was too detrimental to herself unnecessarily.
Yes, which is not always the case. So, but
Yeah.
shout out to OP for at least being like thoughtful and trying not to do that.
This
And
is great.
It's working. It's working.
This makes me happy.
It's working.
Are you happy?
I'm thrilled.
I'm freaking
I'm
happy. Are
absolutely-
you happy, Chad? I'm happy to be with you right now.
At the end of the convo, Jordan came around to help me take things to the door.
Kiss.
We
kiss.
hugged.
No! ...
And this hug was so much different.
It was a long hug.
than any other time that I've hugged him.
It was a rub the back, everything.
Ooh.
It lasted
Long rub the back hug. Oh my.
It lasted a lifetime, and he made me feel so secure, safe. Then he bent down and we kissed. Then he kissed me all over my face and landed the last one.
The forehead kisses.
My heart was in my butt. OMG.
What?
By the way, if you want something big and voluptuous as Keon's junk in the trunk,
Oh, that's big.
That's
and
big.
Big.
Show those cakes, Keon.
go to Spotify, Apple, your favorite pod app, search OK Storytime. We've got over 2,000 episodes for you to listen to. But just before we get into this final bit, how are we feeling? I feel great.
Dude, I feel great. Whoever found this story, shout out them. Oh, what a great story to come back to.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
I feel great. I feel like I learned something. I feel happy. I'm just happy to be here with
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. Communicate early and often, but not to the point. And also, like, be wary of ruining relationships, but not to the point of martyrdom.
We don't need all that.
We don't need all that. Have some confidence, OP. Don't be too afraid of rejection that you get in your own way.
So before he left, he told me how much he loved me. My friends and I say I love you all the time. So that was nothing new to us. But this time was different.
Ooh.
And I love him so much more. This disaster was nothing short of amazing. And I've never been happier to have my heart broken temporarily. It was so worth it.
Yes.
I guess I'll have to update you guys in a few years because Jordan is a man of his word. Thanks for reading.
Oh, thank you for giving us that story. That was
Wow. Beautiful. That was like the perfect
ending.
We went through all
the
whole
emotions.
thing, and it looked. I honestly
looked dire.
didn't think it was gonna work out.
You were like Maya's coming for her.
I thought she was gonna swoop in, and then when OP was like, "I need space, like back off," I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work out, but
Beautiful.
love won today.
Oh,
My sister accused me of stealing her boyfriends. Now her husband won't leave me alone.
Steal him too.
When I was in college, I had a rough patch with my sister, Gabrielle, and we were both very mean and vindictive to each other. It started with an inheritance that was rightfully hers that my parents made her split with me. Long story short, she became resentful of having to share her money with me and kept track of every dollar I spent. By the way, this comes from Blarg. What now? What now? And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. She even reported to my parents anytime I went out drinking with friends or doing anything I shouldn't be doing, just so she could say, "See, I told you we shouldn't have given her the money." I was 20 years old at the time and very resentful of having what felt like a PI intruding on my life and making my parents constantly yell at me. So I did the immature thing and kissed her boyfriend one Thanksgiving or Christmas, can't even remember. 2 years later, when my sister and my relationship was improved but not perfect, we got in a petty fight before her birthday. And I wound up flirting with her boyfriend as some kind of immature revenge. I remember the cringe faces my friends made at me for basically grinding with Gabrielle's boyfriend on the dance floor that night, and I'm still completely embarrassed of that memory, even though it was 5 years ago. Fast forward to now, my sister and I have a good relationship as we are both adults with confidence, stable careers, etc. It helps that we did not see each other as much before because I moved across the country for several years. I've since moved back to the city close to our hometown where my sister lives, and we have resumed weekly or bi-monthly dinners with the family on Saturdays or Sundays. 4 dinners ago, my mom was remarking on the state of our relationship now and commenting on how silly it was that we used to get on so poorly. My sister joked that I was a crappy human being then and I'm not now. Her husband, Nick, reacted strongly to crappy human beings, so in defense of her word choice, my sister revealed the thing about me kissing her boyfriend once and then grinding on another years later. It was a bit uncomfortable, but we all laughed and went on with the rest of the night. But since that dinner, I noticed Nick starting to flirt with me. I fear, OP, this is a boy who cried wolf situation. It sucks that Nick is flirting with you and you probably aren't going to flirt with him, hopefully. But I fear you've done it 2 times, and on the 3rd, people aren't going to believe you when you say that you weren't flirting with him.
Yeah, and you set yourself up.
I can't even explain some of the moments because they were wordless, but I'll list the most blatant offenses below. That night, we were watching TV, and he said I looked like a certain actress on TV who in that scene happened to be wearing a very revealing outfit. It felt a little weird, but I figured I was the one being weird because he said it in front of my sister and she didn't flinch. Next time, he came to hang in my room while mom and sister cooked downstairs. He has done this once or twice before, but this time kept looking for pictures of my college days because he wanted to see what I looked like back when I was seducing Gabrielle's boyfriends. He caught me going through my favorite fitness Instagrams, lots of booty shots, I'll admit, and asked if I was watching porn. I said no, and he exaggerated a disappointed expression and said, "Let me know if you are."
Okay,
There are more, but say what you gotta say.
At first, I was like, that's not necessary. Like saying like, oh, you look like an actress.
He could have gotten away with that one.
Even the second one, which was like hanging out in your room, if he's done it before,
Sure.
if it's normal, but
No, after that
No.
one, there's more of these instances.
no.
So I'll keep going. He got too close to me in the kitchen, and I said, "You don't have to stand so close." To which he responded, "Is it okay if I do?" I said, "I'd prefer that he didn't." And he made a narrowed eye face at me as if to convey being skeptical. I flat out said, "Why are you being weird?" He didn't give me a real answer. I'm angry because he never really acted inappropriately around me before. We had a pretty good relationship and liked to talk about sports, movies, the like. I always felt he and my sister were a good match and that he was a good husband, but now it seems he heard a story and saw it as his green light to start messing with me. I feel he sees me as someone whose word against him would be invalid because of my history, and I want very badly to prove him wrong and just tell my sister and even parents what is happening. But I don't feel that any of his offenses thus far sound big enough to report to someone about. At the same time, I don't want to keep going to dinner and just waiting to be pestered in some way or another, just so I can point it out. I'm livid, and I'm a little embarrassed, and I don't know which way is best to approach the situation. I'm not comfortable telling anyone I know about this, so I appreciate any insight or advice. Edit, a lot is being made of the will. When I say rightfully, I mean legally. grandmother wrote Gabrielle in because she was the older child, but it always referred to it as our money. Many years back, Dad asked Mom to have Grandma legally change it, and Mom went nuts on him, saying that it was ugly and not how our family worked. Grandma did not know about my or Gabrielle's rough patch or any of my poor behavior, so the will was certainly not written with that in mind. This hurts to say, but she passed away thinking we were perfect young women. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts? Very
You gotta talk to that brother now, or the sister now.
Yes. Like, get out. The thing is, yes, she might not believe you, but I think you need to go to your mom, go to your sister and say, hey, ever since that conversation, I've been feeling really, really uncomfortable. He's done this, this, and this. And I don't feel comfortable being around him.
100%. Because if it comes out from him,
Yeah.
or if it comes out from someone else that it happened, it's like you said, you cried wolf. It's never gonna work.
And I honestly don't even think your sister will believe you when you say this. Like, be ready. I don't think she'll believe you. Maybe she will. Maybe she'll surprise us. But I think that you tell her right away. You tell the mom right away. And then every time you see him, or just even before that, every time you see him, you're far away from him. If he tries to get flirty, leave the room. Like, immediately. Like, do not put up with any of that.
Because also, after you tell her, they're going to be more aware of it.
Yes, exactly.
So they'll actually be watching for it, so it could help your cause. I think you're still screwed, but...
Yeah. You got this, OP.
There you go.
There is an update, though. Figured I'd write this for the people who asked for an update. Since writing my last post, I've been to one more dinner at my parents' house. I brought a family friend with me and asked her to keep an eye out for any funny behavior coming from Nick. I also hoped her presence would thwart any of his advances. I think a combination of my friend's presence and him being the one cooking that night made it so that he didn't talk to me much, which was great. Of course, there was still a weird moment, and it happened when I was grabbing wine from my parents' fridge in the garage. I had no idea Nick followed me, so I yelped when he said something. My sister called from the kitchen to ask what happened, and I said Nick scared me because he came out of nowhere. He said there's a joke to be made about that. I gave him a weird look, and he said, me coming out of nowhere. Clearly a spicy related thing. Yeah, pretty obviously. I ignored it and booked it out of the garage before he could do anything else. And for the rest of the night, that was it. My friend and I left early, and I said goodbye to everyone from the door, pretending to be in a rush. 2 days after that dinner, I woke up to way more Instagram notifications than I'm used to. I checked it, and it was one brand new account tagging me in a bunch of spicy sleep joke memes or spicy related pictures, a lot of them being women wearing wet t-shirts. There was also one of a woman in an S&M looking Catwoman outfit, and I was tagged along with the words, you in this. That's disgusting. Immediately suspected Nick. Didn't know how to approach it and didn't tag me in anything beyond that burst of 10 photos, so I didn't do anything about it. I told some friends, but wasn't sure what else I could really do. Later that week, I got a Facebook friend request from someone I didn't know. I recently created a new, for people I actually know, Facebook profile. Close friends and family I actually talked to and have seen recently. I don't get friend requests often anymore, as I'm totally private and unsearchable. So this request was the only one that day and made me instantly suspicious. I thought it was some fake profile Nick made, but weirdly enough, I looked into this guy's profile and saw that he was a real person with real friends and a job. He is Googleable. I checked to see his high school or college to see if he was a friend of Nick's, and there were no schools listed, only current employment. Also, he lives in the Midwest in a state where I know no one. Most everyone I know lives on the East Coast. Anyway, I accepted the friend request and asked how this guy knew and found me. And the first thing I got back from him was a long and very explicit story using my name as the main character. Considering how he messaged it to me right away, it was clearly written already and waiting for me. I took a screenshot, blocked him instantly, and have since regretted it because I wish I could look at his profile and find his connection to Nick. Oh, well, I feel so bad for OP because it feels like when, like, in a movie where, you know, the Invisible Man movie?
Yes.
This is what it feels like, where she's going crazy, thinking that he's everywhere.
And he, like, kind of is.
And he kind of is. Yeah.
My thing though is like,
Yeah.
is he, and I'm sure we'll find
Yeah.
out, getting friends in on this?
I feel like he might be, but also there's a chance that this is just like a weird Facebook, troll or something.
With her name in it, though.
Well, you could probably get that from
yeah.
the Facebook. It depends on how much information they have
Yeah.
of you, Pretty weird, though. Definitely take screenshots of everything that you get.
And
Send them to your friends, your family.
you might know Facebook better. Couldn't you just unblock him and find the connection to Nick?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She was like, and I'm so mad that I blocked him so
him.
quickly. Unblock him.
Yeah, that you could just unblock him. That's a good point.
I get maybe the fear of like,
Yeah.
he'll send me more, but
Yeah.
just real quick.
Just real quick. Honestly, I feel like there was no way this isn't all Nick. Even if that wasn't his Facebook profile, I feel like it's someone he knows and he put him up to this. He and I have never talked about wet t-shirts or Catwoman, but I also don't know anyone else who would do it except him. But I don't know anyone else but you guys who can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Part of me is like, gotta be Nick 100%.
Yeah.
But I think maybe he told a friend about it and was like, hey, this girl's
Yeah.
open to flirting.
Yeah.
So I don't think, maybe it's not directly
Ugh.
Nick, but maybe he's like passed her off to like a gross
Icky.
friend.
Yeah. I think what you should do is go to your mom, go to your sister, say, hey, I've been noticing these kind of weird, kind of uncomfortable things from Nick. Don't really like it. If you could talk to him about it. Like even
Yeah.
framing it in that way. 2, you don't even have to accuse Nick of the Facebook thing. Just
Yeah.
say, look at this super creepy thing I got. I have no idea who this is. And just like literally show it.
Everything just needs to be out there
Yeah.
in the world.
Just start telling them everything. You don't have to accuse Nick of anything.
Right.
But there's a little bit left to this story. So yeah, that's my update. I honestly have no idea if I have a move here at all, since everything happened mostly anonymously on social media. I've asked around about the Facebook guy and even asked Gabrielle, but no one knows that name. I have made excuses to avoid future dinners at my parents' home and will continue to do so. I'll see them on my own when Nick isn't around. There hasn't been any online pestering since then, but I won't be surprised if another incident pops up sometime soon. Not sure how and where it'll happen, but I'm hoping it will include a slip-up that points me towards Nick, because right now, I've got nothing. And that's the end of the story.
My friend hooked up with the girl I liked, and I can't accept it.
Don't. You don't need to.
I'm gonna live in a dream. So, last year, my freshman year of college, I lived in a suite-style dorm. It's a regular dorm building, but with a living room, 4 bathrooms, and 4 individual rooms. Sometimes 2 people share a room, so the max was 5 people in the suite. One of my randomly assigned suite mates was Andy. We hit it off right away, and over time we became close, and eventually formed a decent-sized friend group with others in our grade. By the way, this comes from user LazyHuckleberry598, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Together, we took trips, went to concerts, and hit every party. By the end of freshman year, the group had really solidified, especially since we were all working towards similar goals. We constantly uplifted each other and kept each other on track academically. For me, it was the first time I truly felt like I had a group that made me a better person. During freshman year, I had a pretty big crush on a girl I'll call Layla. She wasn't really in the core friend group, but I knew a lot of people in it, sort of on the outskirts. We spent a lot of freshman year together, hanging out and grabbing food, blah, blah, blah. During this time, Andy helped me a lot and gave me advice because I wasn't really experienced when it came to dating. Toward the end of freshman year, I finally made a move and feelings weren't really reciprocated, which made things awkward between us, but eventually moved past it. Due to some rumors, I thought maybe there was still something there, but after a conversation with her at the start of sophomore year, we both agreed that just being friends was best. Andy, being my best friend, knew all about this, and as it was happening, I kept him updated and asked for advice constantly. Before winter break of sophomore year, our friend group planned a surprise cake and ice cream celebration for 2 people whose birthdays were during the break. Since none of us would be on campus then, this was our only chance to celebrate. I thought we should invite Layla, since she was close to these two as well. I didn't think much of it, but I had forgotten her birthday was also over the break. We met up with her first and then went to our friend's room to sing happy birthday. Layla felt hurt because no one acknowledged her birthday during the celebration. The blame ended up mostly on me, since I was the one who invited her, but honestly, everyone else knew when her birthday was and no one said anything. After this, things got awkward again between us. She said she was really hurt and wanted some distance, which I understood. Man, girlfriend confusion and birthday parties. What a classic combo. Second semester, I barely saw Layla, and that was fine. But I even talked to Andy about how weird things were feeling between us. I didn't like the tension. I was uncomfortable whenever she was around, which was often since she hung out with our group a lot. Around that time, Andy was having issues with his roommate. He was sharing a double room, so I offered my single room to his roommate and moved in with Andy, since we're best friends. One night, I was coming back late from spring break around midnight or 1 a.m., and I noticed Andy wasn't in our room. I checked his location and saw he was in the dorm building connected to ours in someone's room. I figured he was just doing a classic college hookup and went to bed. The next morning, he told me he fell asleep in Layla's room after helping her move back in and talking. I felt like something was off. If he was tired, why not just come back to our room, which was only a 2-minute walk? I shared this with 2 friends from our group, Alice and Heather, just to vent and get perspective. They thought it was strange and agreed I should talk to Andy about it. A few days later, coincidentally, Andy brought up the Layla situation too. He admitted they had been flirting for weeks, and he went over to see if something more was there. They ended up hooking up. He said they didn't have spicy sleep, but did other things, which I had to pry out of him. I asked if anything happened. He said, I don't think that would be productive for the conversation. I had to keep asking him until he finally told me. But brother, I think he was right. I don't think that's productive for the conversation. That's just like, you're like, hurt me more. And he's like, brother, dude, I'm trying not to hurt you.
Exactly.
He's like, no, hurt me.
Please. Yeah, you don't need to know all of the details. You just need to know that it happened.
Yeah. At the end of our talk, I told him he betrayed my trust and should have talked to me before anything happened. I didn't really care that it happened, but I just wish he would have said something, because this just makes things more uncomfortable for me, you know? It's obviously not my place to know their business, but if he was going to tell me anyway, I feel like he should have said something before. During this talk, he also mentioned that when he was talking to Layla, he brought up how it might make things weird for me and how he needed to talk to me before they took things further, but he still hooked up with her anyway. In the following weeks, I started distancing myself from Andy. I also told another friend, Xander, since he, Andy, and I had been planning to get an apartment next year. I didn't want Xander stuck scrambling for housing last minute. I also knew I didn't want to share a space with Andy after this, and I didn't want Xander to have to choose between us for housing. Eventually, I told the rest of the group. The only reason I told them was because I knew that the whole dynamic of the group would shift, since I didn't want to spend time around Andy, and since we pretty much formed the group, I knew that there would be a lot of effects from this, and I didn't want my friends to think I was just distancing myself for no reason. This is a classic young guy mistake.
Yeah, putting the friendships over himself.
I feel like it's more of just the way he's going about it. He's like, I didn't want things to be weird.
Yeah.
So I immediately made a weird situation for the entire group to deal with.
Right. It's like you kind of just have to power through the weird, and hopefully other people understand, because it's not your fault, right?
I think honestly, you're taking it. Maybe understand it's a personal thing, but it doesn't really sound like you two ever really dated in the first place.
Yeah.
It's not like y'all were in love with each other and had a bad breakup, and then your buddy who you'd been venting to about it then went and hooked. That's all right, see you never. You're no longer my friend, Andy.
Yeah.
But this is more like hey, you had a crush on this girl, it didn't work. I started feeling some things with this girl and it might kind of work. I should have told you before.
Yeah.
I wanted to establish some boundaries just to make everything easier for everybody, you know? Some friends, Alice, Heather, and Xander, were immediately done with Andy, feeling like if he could do that to his best friend, what would he do to them? On the other side, Jasmine, Emily, and Casey thought what Andy did was wrong, but they were closer to Layla and Andy, so they felt telling everyone was unnecessary and that I was spreading their business. Although Emily and Casey also said another point that they wish I would have told them earlier, so I don't know. Apparently to them, when I talked about what happened, they thought I was mostly speculating and just gossiping, but most of what I said was literally straight from Andy's mouth. To me, I feel like if you don't want people to know about your messed up behavior, then don't do messed up things. Okay, see, now we're starting to get to the real meat of it, huh?
Yeah.
You feel hurt. Your feelings are hurt. So you're saying, I want everyone to know that Andy's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But
Now we're being honest.
this is really only two people's business.
Yeah.
Technically three. It's you and Andy and Layla. Eventually, Xander confronted Andy, and Andy tried to shift the blame, making it seem like it wasn't his fault. I respect Xander for standing by me and basically telling Andy he was in the wrong and should back off. This was weeks after the initial conversation, and by then, Andy still hadn't apologized. I told him I was getting my own apartment next year, which after that just solidified the fact that he knew I was hurt. It was kind of hard, too, in these following weeks because we both were kind of known as a duo. So a lot of people would ask me about him or talk to me about him, and I was just speechless, you know? We had one last conversation where he finally apologized, and I basically told him that I can't trust him, and if he was okay putting me in a worse situation for some girl, then I don't know if being friends was the best choice. Here is the cherry on top. I'd experienced similar situations with a friend of mine in high school, and I had shared all of that with Andy. So while he was going behind my back, he knew I had been hurt like this before. Now our friend group is split. I'm no longer friends with Andy, and I'm pretty sure Layla hates me for spreading her business, and I'm not as close with Jasmine, Emily, or Casey anymore. Do you think I overreacted? Comments, you're overreacting. By your own words, you were okay with Layla asking for space. You only cared when you found out Andy liked and hooked up with her. It would be different if you and Layla had any kind of romantic relationship, but you didn't. I guess your jealousy of Andy is more important than your friendship with him. Edit, Layla was upset because the brand new friends she just met didn't make a big deal out of her birthday. She sounds like a lot of drama. You may have gotten the better deal out of this situation, to be honest. Comment 2 says, no bro code, no close-knit friendship. Andy broke the rules. Not your fault at all. Reply is, I disagree. Bro code never applied to dibs. No, dude. OP told Andy about his feels.
Yeah.
It's not about dibs. It's that he needed to go, hey, I value my friendship with you more than a
Exactly.
potential hookup with this girl.
Exactly.
So I'm going to ask you if it's okay with you first.
Right, because even if it like was a dibs kind of thing, which is already like has weird implications in it, but like even if it was like a dibs thing, like, oh no, I can't do that because my bro said that he could. If he's your real bro, he would understand why that's part of the code.
Right.
Which is exactly what you said.
Exactly.
It's about caring for your bros. It's about love, man.
Yeah, dude. It's my bro means more to me than this girl.
Exactly. But clearly, maybe this wasn't so much the case.
I don't think so. But everyone in this story is young
They're
and
so
blinded
young.
by our downstairs brains.
Yeah.
Probably. You know?
Yeah.
But again, now that you've made it the whole group's problem, like there's probably no coming back from this, and it is going to be like a permanent weird vibes.
Yeah.
This comment is completely wrong, but I'm going to read it just for the record. I disagree. Bro code never applied to dibs. OP called dibs on a mutual friend who denied him outright. You can't call dibs on people. Bro code is an ex's thing, not a dibs thing. Andy liked her too. Just because OP liked her and got denied a year earlier doesn't mean she's off limits. That's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Which, as we now know, according to the code, that is totally not true. It's just about being a good friend, dude.
Exactly.
God. This guy's like, actually, according to Article 3, subsection 2 of the bro code, it's like, that's not what the bro code is. The bro code is just like, does that feel like I did a bad thing? Yes.
Right.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Ugh. Comment number 3 is, you sound like a high school child. It's time to grow up. And that is the end of that story.
Wow, that's the end?
Yeah, but if
well,
you
I
want
don't
to
fully disagree with that last comment.
I'm repulsed by my friend's lifestyle.
What could that even mean?
Throw away, because this dude, 30 male, is still breathing my air and might see it. I, 35 female, live across the country from this old friend. We're originally from the same city in another state where we both currently live, and in a moment of weakness and hospitable idiocy, I agreed to host him at his request for a holiday during my precious time off work. By the way, this comes from user public audience 6978, and if you want to go submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My first time off in 3 years. I envisioned catching up, maybe hitting some local tourist spots I've never even seen. Being the apparently world's biggest doormat, I prepped the guest room like a 5-star hotel. Think brand new crisp linen and fluffy towels. It's a new room, never used. This guy was coming all the way over here, Ryan. I might as well make it look nice. He initially suggested dates that would have meant me driving a ridiculous 5 hours each way twice in 1 week. So, being the problem solver I am, I suggested he fly in a few days earlier. The reward, he gets my spare front row ticket worth $260 to see a pop punk band we both love. Sold out show. Had mates practically throwing cash at me for it, but no, I thought a nice friendship gesture. We agreed to split the cost of the extra night of accommodation I'd need in the city because it was a cheaper flight to land a day before my original original travel plans. I booked a decent place we both gave a thumbs up to. Airport pickup day arrives. Despite a recent photo he'd sent weeks before, I genuinely did a double take. He wasn't just a bit scruffy, he was full-blown homeless chic, complete with the unmistakable aroma of 1,000 stale cigarettes clinging to him like a second skin. I was floored. The last time I'd seen him, he was all clean cut and professional. And the recent photo, well, that turns out to be ancient, a whole year-old ancient. Being the idiotically polite person I am, I shouted him dinner that night. Takeout from this amazing but pricey Italian place I always treat myself to in the city. Did he let me enjoy my $40 carbonara? Nope. He wolfed down his food like he hadn't eaten in days and then immediately suggested we go get drinks. So I reluctantly boxed up my food after a mouthful and drove him to a bottle shop in the CBD, despite him having ample time beforehand to get stuff. Back at the hotel, the catching up was punctuated every 10 minutes by him needing to have a smoke. It wasn't a casual thing, it was a ritual. TV show, pause for a smoke. Gossip session, smoke break. Movie, you guessed it. Look, I really don't care what you do, but constantly interrupting everything was getting annoying. Now, I'm a tidy person. I respect other people's spaces, especially when I'm a guest. But the state he left the hotel room in was criminal. Tobacco shreds, rolling papers, filters scattered like confetti, empty bottles multiplying like rabbits, and just a general aura of filth emanating from his corner. Surprise, surprise, surprise. No Venmo request ever materialized for his half of the accommodation. I had some crucial shopping to do for a job interview, and new clothes were a must. Living in a tiny town with limited options and working crazy hours meant this was my only opportunity. He insisted on coming along, which involved him awkwardly trailing me through the women's department while I tried to maintain some semblance of social grace despite the discomfort. Finally, the concert. 6 months I'd been waiting for this. We get there and poof, he vanishes into the crowd to socialize with strangers. Fine. I grab a drink, find my incredible front row seat, and send him a screenshot of his ticket and seat number. 40 minutes later, he reappears with 3 drinks for himself, a lukewarm drink for me, and half a cup of now stone-cold fries he'd apparently sampled en route. I politely declined his leftovers, mentioned I had my own food, and pointed out the first band was starting. I thanked him for the drink and set it aside. Not a big drinker, and I already had one. 2 songs into the opening act, which he declared he didn't really like anyway, he gets up and leaves again. Okay, rude, but honestly, I was a bit relieved. I don't agree with that. I don't know if I have any concert goers, but this is the opening act. This is not the main event. This is like the time you wander around the venue.
Yeah.
I texted him updates about the main band starting. He finally appeared with another 3 drinks and another unwanted drink from me. He'd clearly been at the bar, throwing him back and smoking the whole opening act. He came back smelling like a walking chimney and then started moshing and throwing his arms around in the seated area. I had to physically move our drinks and apologize to the people around us who had also paid good money for a decent view. This continued the entire main set, only stopping when he went for his frequent bar runs, each time returning with yet another drink I didn't want after I told him I didn't want to drink anymore. I'm just not comfortable getting that drunk, especially around someone acting like this. I'm not easily embarrassed, but oh my goodness, I was mortified. You just don't act like that in public, and if you want to, go into the GA, go into the pit. But even the venue didn't condone that behavior. People were pretty mature and respectful even in General Assembly. After the show, Mr. Social Butterfly wanted to keep mingling. I just wanted to escape back to the hotel for some peace after a mentally and physically exhausting week. Leaving, I bumped into some acquaintances from my town. As I was chatting, he caught up, acting wasted and disorderly, so I awkwardly excused us. Leaving the venue, he walked straight into a security guard who naturally asked if he was okay. This sent my friend into a bizarre mini rage. I had to physically pull him back and explain the guard did nothing wrong. He did, which he eventually conceded. We started walking to find an Uber away from the concert chaos. He was wandering around trying to hug strangers and bumming smokes, looking like a disheveled swamp creature who hadn't seen soap in weeks. Seriously, no toothbrush, comb, or toiletries for a 10-day trip. People were actively avoiding him, and I was trying to distance myself. I ended up walking and talking with some other gig goers until I found a decent Uber spot. The 15-minute ride back was excruciating. He rambled non-stop about his lack of a spicy sleep life, his newfound love for living on a boat, and life being a massive pothead. News to me. And his dislike for Indian food to our Indian driver. Cue more apologies from me. Back at the hotel, I was getting ready for bed while he made creepy comments and wouldn't stop talking at me. For a solid hour, he fixated on which bed I was sleeping in. I finally had to unleash my inner boss girl voice and tell him enough was enough and that we would have a problem problem if he didn't start respecting what I had been saying for the past hour and to go to bed. The next day, I was left cleaning up his mess in the hotel. I'm not one to leave a disaster for housekeeping. He didn't shower that morning. Then, a delightful 5-hour drive back to my house with this biohazard. Seriously, the smell was potent. I'm a pretty tidy person, even if I have an alternative lifestyle. I take pride in my appearance and in not smelling like a dumpster fire. The drive was a monologue about boat life, and he was explaining how he has my bathroom on board, but he's showering at the boat club, how amazing it is not having to pay for anything, his medical devil's lettuce prescription he wanted filled despite me explaining our pharmacies don't work like that and I don't partake, and how it's mostly recreational, but the prescription keeps him out of trouble in public. He also kept finishing my sentences incorrectly anytime I'd try and speak. I just wanted to listen to music, and he was actively repelling me. We stopped at a famous cave about an hour from home. It's actually pretty cool if you've never seen one. He'd never seen anything like it, but acted completely disinterested. Didn't walk with me, didn't speak, just stood apart from the tour group. No photos, didn't listen to the guide. Bizarre. Trying to salvage something, I bought him a small, expensive fossil keychain for his boat keys. He mumbled a thanks and pocketed it. Finally home, I gave him a tour of my small house. He immediately plonked himself on the couch, turned on my Xbox, and started downloading a game on my main TV. Rude. So I started unpacking. Then, mid-game, he silently got up and went to shower without saying a word to me, now monopolizing my bathroom and main TV. When he was finally done, I mentioned I needed to get food and pet supplies. He tagged along for toiletries, but only wanting drinks. He bought a 30 rack. Whilst my house rule is that I don't drink at home, I'm fine with someone else having a few drinks with dinner or something. I went to bed early for a 13-hour workday. I woke up to a disaster zone. Cans, smoking devices, everywhere. I cleaned it before work, but I was pretty disgusted he left my living area and outside deck looking like a dropped trash can. No phone allowed at work, so I was unreachable. I left some cash and a note that if he's going to use my spare car, it needs fuel. I was very, very reluctant to leave him access to this car as it's new and modified and one of my pride and joys.
Oh no.
Are you actually a silly baby?
Oh no. Oh
Goo
no.
Goo Gaga? Came home to find he'd rearranged my outdoor patio furniture and moved my fire pit under my plastic roofed deck. Seriously? No asking? Inside, more dishes, a broken Xbox controller cable, and more adult soda cans. Bathroom covered in beard shavings. I cleaned it again. Next morning, cleaned up more empty cans. Dishes still there. Coffee grounds everywhere. I was late for work. Got home after another brutal shift. He was sprawled out with dirty bare feet with black soles on my furniture. Guest room was a disaster. His clothes were everywhere, blankets in heaps, a real plant I keep in there, broken and uprooted. How? Bathroom, a biohazard of water and hair, dishes overflowing the sink, coffee powder coating everything, and a mountain of my expensive disposable coffee cups he'd been using as drinking vessels. He'd gone through 2 weeks worth in 2 days because he didn't want to look for a mug. The mugs were literally right there. He'd also raided my sheds and tools for things he wanted to use, downloaded more games, and used my laundry facilities all without a word. But asking where a mug was apparently crossed the line. The car, my beloved 2-year-old, days prior serviced hot hatch with brand new tires.
I can't listen to this.
I told him it needed premium fuel and even left cash. He drove it on fumes and left it in my driveway covered in bird poop. When I realized days later, I asked why he didn't fill it up, and he stated he thought I was just leaving him cash for no reason, as if I owed him or something. Finally, now it's my day off. Thursday. We have a 5-hour drive for my job interview interstate. His dad was meeting him nearby for lunch. I made sure we left early so I could drop him off where he wanted to be. After my interview, I called to pick him up. He'd spent the afternoon trying to fill his devil's lettuce prescription and was 20 minutes south of where I dropped him off, so 40 minutes total from where I was. I offered to drive part way. He could Uber the rest. I said I would stop and get some food, and by the time he got there, I would be finished and we could leave while it was still light out. However, when he arrived, he then ate a whole second lunch and drinks while I was finishing mine. The drive home was a hot box of cigarettes and devil lettuce fumes. I tried subtle perfume, but it was overwhelming. 4.5 hours of terrifying dark back roads with kangaroos with no regard for human life. He spent the drive rolling more stuff. He didn't help with anything, not even cleaning his own rubbish out of the car each time we stopped, and even grabbing my water I just bought after the last stop, claiming a dry throat from his smoking. It's important to note that I'm a well-known professional here. I don't do that stuff at home, and I'm not comfortable being seen with someone like this. He's this tall, gaunt dude with dirty, matted hair and clothes that don't fit. I'm usually in pretty casual but tidy, think clean Vans and a hoodie, if I'm not in a business attire for work. On the drive home, he argued about wildlife accident stats and tried to mansplain autism to me, scoffing when I corrected him about the facts and consistently telling me I was wrong about things. I actually have autism. He does not. His manner of conversation was unpleasant to be around. I got home late to find his now 3-day-old dishes, including my $350 chef's knife, soaking in the sink still. I did them visibly fuming. He asked what was wrong and if he could help. I told him that it would be respectful if he did his own housekeeping. I went straight to bed. He stayed up watching TV. Friday, exhausted. Had a Zoom interview at 7:30 in the morning, my time, with the same company I just drove in out of state for. I got up at 6 to shower and dress. After, I went grocery shopping. Still no contribution from him. He did some gardening, my edges, fine, not expected but appreciated, and then back to my Xbox, feet on the couch, drink in hand. I spent 4 hours cooking when I got home because I didn't have anything else to do in my own house because he was engrossed in my video game console. His thanks felt fake, complete with a backhanded compliment about a vegan, me, cooking chicken well. I used to be a chef. It's not rocket science. His whole personality felt forced and fake. He spent the night outside by my still under the deck fire pit, smoking the rest of the night. He made several suggestions that I come outside and drink and sit with him, but I politely declined because sitting around a wasted smoker all night generally does not sound like a good time or a social time for me. And frankly, I find it disrespectful in my home when you are a guest. I still tried to be a decent human the following day and took him to the coast. You are misunderstanding what a decent human is, I think. Rest assured, OP, you are a sweetheart. However, we gotta have times in our life where we aren't so sweet. Well, I
Maybe
a
think the
personal
diagnosis.
Maybe well, true.
Yeah, I think that
does
really
help.
informs it all. That's where it's
That
like,
does.
especially coming from like, I still tried to be a decent human being, so
Yeah.
I took him. So OP clearly has a lot of ideals and ideas about like
How they should
what's a
be.
good person, how to be good,
Yeah.
what you have to do to be good. So it's like maybe just
Yeah.
even telling him like, hey, you can't do this. You're doing this wrong. Get out of my house.
Right.
Now I'm a bad
It's hard.
person.
Right.
So
That's an important reminder for me because I'm losing my patience.
he was silent and disinterested. Same with visiting historical sites. All he wanted to do was smoke in public. On the way back home, we stopped at the supermarket so I could grab something quickly, and he wandered off to buy another 30 rack. This is following on from Monday night and Wednesday's 2 6-packs. He went back to my desk, now a empty can graveyard, and had at some point gone through my shed to find an extension cord and power adapters to run from my upstairs laundry to power his outdoor video game sessions. There is now a layer of ash, a sooty mix, and the cardboard he keeps burning is accumulating over the back patio furniture. My back patio table is beginning to look like the inside of a crack house, with the paraphernalia of his habits and the rubbish of him barely leaving the vicinity in days. Saturday, officially at my breaking point, stayed in my room until 10 a.m. for peace. He got up when he heard me get up, made coffee, and went back to the deck. I had a rest day, cooked for myself and my neighbors. He smoked the entire day. Spoke to me at 2 p.m. to ask if I wanted anything from the shops. He returned with more drinks. I called my dad to vent. Didn't cook the big roast dinner I said I would because I felt my hospitality was being taken for granted. He finally asked if I was okay after I told him I didn't feel like cooking anymore. I laid it all out. Concert behavior, disrespect for my home, the drinking, his appearance, his choices pushing me away, my home being my sanctuary, and outlining a multitude of disrespectful behavior he had shown me over the past week. He also attempted to gaslight me about splitting costs, stayed in here, made several attempts at asking for my bank information, and I hadn't been forthcoming. I showed him proof none of that was correct, and he had made no attempts during conversation online or in person to pay his share. He just said he was sorry things have worked out this way, and fine with the friendship ending, then went back to smoking and drinking. Don't you wish you would have just thrown him out the first day now? Who is this guy? I don't care at all about this guy. This guy can go live his little degen life by himself, without me, without you, without anyone else, who doesn't want to participate, and you can be okay with that because this is a guy who fully doesn't care. Oh, and by the way, THC can be toxic to dogs. My 2 Frenchies have been locked inside most nights because he's out there smoking until midnight. I'm not sleeping because I have to wait until he goes to bed so I can take them outside for toilet and then again before he gets up in the morning. There are a million, billion, trillion other little things, but you can get the gist of how he's been a terrible house guest. I just want to make it clear that I have no problem with people smoking like chimneys or getting baked and wasted, but do it in your time and your place. It's considerate to do. So like, I don't know, your own house or your friend's house who also partakes in that kind of behavior and not in someone's house that you know for a fact set a higher standard of their personal life and their home life. I am a working professional. And I have worked very hard to give myself a comfortable life, working for everything I have with no handouts. So I take a lot of pride in my home and my reputation. And by the way, we take a lot of pride in the full episodes with stories just like this that you can listen to on Spotify or iHeart or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and you'll have over 2,500 episodes to listen to. Besides the expense of setting up a guest room, I've also spent $450 on fuel for our travels, $260 on a ticket, $300 on food and takeaway, and $320 on accommodation. And all I've asked for is $160, which was agreed upon when we planned and when I booked, and last week before he flew out. So am I the a-hole for telling him his airport drop-off on Tuesday will be his farewell tour? I feel guilty, but I'm beyond done.
I'm gonna say something.
Yeah, go, please.
I guarantee you, he doesn't care.
Oh, for sure. He's not going to pay that back.
This friend has already told you, I mean, yeah, I'm okay with it being the end of the friendship.
Yeah.
So.
And guess what? When you do that, you're like, oh, wait, can I get my 160? He's like, we're not friends anymore. Bye.
That's when you bring business. Be like, okay, great. Now we're not friends. Now I don't have to be nice to you. Give me the freaking money and I demand even more because as a friend, I'm not going to cover your crap.
Yeah, I would just send him a Venmo request literally every day.
Yeah.
I would set up a bot that automatically sends him that Venmo request over and over and over. My sister is furious that I'm proposing to my boyfriend without considering her feelings.
Yeah, maybe you should have done it first, sister.
So, I, 26 female, am planning to propose to my boyfriend, 27 male. We've been dating for 4 years now, and he's the most important person in my life. We've discussed marriage. He was always very eager to propose and has been saving money for some time, I think. He's an artist and doesn't really make that much, but he's way too proud to let me pitch in. By the way, this comes from user throwawayring947, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, well, around last month, his mom had a surgery. I won't go into details, but it cost his parents quite a lot. She doesn't have insurance. I don't know why. He transferred them money from his own savings as well, but didn't tell me that. I even offered to help. That day, I found him crying in our room. He told me all of this and kept on apologizing that the money he was saving for the ring had to go into helping his mom, and now he can't propose on our anniversary like he was planning to. It was so heartbreaking for me to see him like that, to be honest. I don't give a dang about that ring. I want to marry this guy, and I'd have done that in a courthouse if he'd agree. I told him all of that, but for him, things like these are important. I actually kind of yelled at him as well for worrying about the wrong reason. LOL. He told me to give him some time as he wants to get me the best he can. Well, I've decided to propose on our anniversary. I'm doing it on a beach we used to visit a lot as kids back in our hometown, and I'm picking up the ring next week. Here comes my sister, 28 female. She's had multiple failed relationships and still lives with our parents. She saw me looking at a ring photo when she was visiting me this Christmas, so I told her I was planning to propose at the beach. She went silent for a minute and asked me if I was kidding her.
Stop. Oh, he's proposing.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
I miss that. That's really cute.
Apparently, she caught her boyfriend of 2 years with someone else on that same beach and hates that place now. I wasn't aware of this. I also wasn't aware that it was your sister who's getting married.
Yeah. Why does that matter? I'm sorry. Does she have claim over every beach now?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, sorry, you can't get married in the church because one time I went to church and It wasn't fun. It was really boring.
This breakup she had was in September, and back then she told me he was cheating and she left him. And now she wants me to cancel this whole thing and do it somewhere else. I admit when her relationship ended, she did take it pretty hard. We all liked him, and my sister was convinced he was the one, so the breakup was really bad for her. Yes, it sucks what happened to her, but I don't know why that should affect my plans. Me and my boyfriend visit that place every time we're there, and it holds some importance for both of us. She's now calling me selfish and saying I only want to hurt her by reminding her of that trauma. She then proceeds to talk about my boyfriend and how he can't propose and should be ashamed. I shut that down quickly and told her to drop that topic. The rest of the day, she was moody, and when she left, she was crying and called me heartless. She's now texting me and saying getting engaged isn't important enough, and I need to change the destination. I need advice on how to deal with her. Am I really in the wrong here? All I know is I'm not changing the location whether I'm wrong or not. I'm kind of guilty, but that's just because we've been close since we were kids, and I don't really want to hurt her. Should I comfort her or something, or is she being unreasonable? Also, she lives with our parents, and we are close too, so cutting her off isn't an option. And there's an edit, as some have mentioned in the comments, that this proposal might be emasculating to my boyfriend. I know him, and if it was actually something I'd be, quote, taking away from him, I'd obviously never do it. We wanted to be engaged on our 5-year anniversary, and I think that's what he was guilty about. Plus, some stress about his mom's health. Thanks for the concern, but I know he'll love it. And another edit, thank you for the response, but I've seen some comments accusing my boyfriend and his parents of being immature and selfish. What?
Your boyfriend's mom who's having a medical surgery is selfish.
Yeah. How dare you have an ailment?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So let's see
That is
how
something.
Let's
That
see
is
how OP
something.
addresses
Yeah.
these charlatans. This is completely false. Be kind here, please. His parents are lovely people. Yes, they're struggling financially, and my boyfriend decided to help his parents. I would have been mad if my boyfriend decided to spend his money on a ring instead of helping his mom. And about the insurance thing, I only know half of the story, and it's not because his parents are immature. I'll be talking to him about this later on, and he didn't spend all his savings. His actual savings are separate from the money he was saving for the ring.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't want to spend all of his savings on a ring in general. I doubt you don't want to go through all of your savings to buy a ring. There are many other important things to do when you're, getting
This
into
is true.
about to get married, son.
This is true. Buy appliances.
If you're breaking the bank to get a ring right before you get married, maybe you guys are not, ready to get married.
Okay, another edit. Y'all, I'm proposing tomorrow. I did talk to his mom about it just to make sure I'm doing the right thing by proposing, and she agrees. Wish me luck. Update after that incident. My sister called me 2 days later asking if I'd finally realized how insensitive I've been to her, and said she wants me to apologize. Yeah, exactly. I told her, yes, she's my family, and I love her, but she can't expect everyone to work according to her feelings. I didn't tell her if I was still going ahead with the plan because, honestly, I was afraid she would try to ruin it or something. Probably a good instinct there, OP. I hung up and refused to answer when she called back. I took the advice and refused to share any details with my parents or her. They called the same day asking me to care for my sister's feelings as well. I wasn't expecting much from my parents anyway. They just want us at peace and don't really care. Now, on to the proposal. We were visiting a friend in our hometown who just had a baby and stayed there overnight. We went to the beach and, well, I proposed. It went exactly how I wanted it to be. We were walking. I then got on one knee and started my speech about how I'm in love and stuff. I kid you not, I wasn't even 30 seconds in when he hugged me and got emotional. It was so beautiful. I couldn't stop smiling. He was so happy with the ring that I selected, and we said some sweet words and got all emotional. It was perfect. He also said how he loved that it happened at the beach. So yes, my sister can go screw herself. And wouldn't it have been hilarious if he was like, I love that you chose this beach where your sister got broken up at.
Oh God, this is my favorite beach. One time I was here and your sister got broken up with.
And I feel like us getting, engaged here, really resets the energy on the
Exactly.
beach.
It's kind of like saging the beach.
Yeah, we've saged the beach with our proposal.
Emotionally, yeah.
We've saved the beach. Woo. We then went out to dinner and he couldn't stop smiling. He even told the waitress, my girlfriend just proposed to me. I'm engaged. So yeah, whatever doubt I had about him not liking being proposed vanished. We had a great night. Later, when we were about to go to sleep, I did ask him if he really was okay with me proposing because of how upset he was about the ring. He told me he was upset because he felt like he was letting me down by not getting a ring and instead helping his mom. She's doing good, by the way. And he still says he wants a ring on my finger soon. We talked stuff out and we're good. I couldn't have asked for a better day. Now, the original plan was to go visit my parents after we were done visiting our friends, but I wasn't sure because of the whole thing going on with my sister. So I called my parents and told them I'm engaged. They did congratulate us, but were not happy because I haven't been answering their calls. I asked them if those were calls to make me change my mind about the proposal, and they said yes. I told them obviously that wasn't happening.
What?
They're like, we're all happy that you're engaged, except why didn't you answer our calls?
And I was like, I was busy getting engaged. And they're like, well, the calls were about how you shouldn't get engaged.
Yes, the calls were about how we hate the way that you got engaged.
So maybe you should have listened to them. Yikes. Icky, icky.
Icky,
Sticky,
icky.
sticky, sticky.
I asked them if they still wanted me to visit them, and they said yes. My sister then called saying she can't believe how petty and immature I'm being, and how I just had to go ahead and ruin her day. I didn't even mention the engagement to her. My mom did. Wasn't my problem, and I won't be changing my plans because of her inability to deal with her emotions. She then said, congratulations on your engagement. Don't worry, it won't last.
Oh my God. Why are you
What?
being so mean? What the heck?
I just hung up the phone. So it's safe to say we won't be talking for the foreseeable future. But by the way, you can listen for the foreseeable future to full episodes with stories like this. You can listen for 53 consecutive days on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
So true.
And you've got it all in
Got
the
it
palm of
all.
your hand, the power of the sun. There is a little bit of story left here.
My final
Yes.
thing is I think you could have maybe one more conversation with either sister or parents, or maybe get them all there and say, just like, hey, I mean, I understand that you guys didn't want this engagement to happen here,
Yeah.
but it really is no bearing on our relationship. It's a place. That's
Exactly.
it. Like, do you guys have anything to say about my relationship? Is there anything there that you're worried about? Because if not, then, is this really a problem that you want to kind of blow up our family over?
It's true. Okay, but let's finish the rest of the story. We didn't visit our parents, and we spent the next day with our friends as well, and then left. My parents don't blame me, but want me to fix this because you know how your sister is. I'm done with her, though. I was guilty only because I actually felt like I was hurting her, but she had no problem talking crap about my boyfriend and my engagement. But, well, I have a fiance. Have a good day. Ooh, there's a super, super quick little micro update here. We're married. He got me a ring as well. It's effing gorgeous. We got married at a beach. Not the same one, though. And it was beautiful. And that is the
That's
end
so sweet.
of
I
that
mean,
story.
I do hope that at one point your sister can get over her kind of just thinking about life so negatively, and she's worrying about the minutia that has no bearing on the happiness of your relationship
Yeah.
currently.
Well, it just feels like she clearly picked up a really negative, I don't know if it's a coping mechanism or
Yeah.
what, but just and then the parents being like, you know how your sister is. It's like, yeah, you made her that way.
Well, the thing is, also just the parents not calling her out on her behavior is not going to help anyone.
Right. It's like, you can't just be like,
You know how she is. It's like, okay, I
yeah,
also know
you
how you
get
guys
it.
are because you're just letting her get away with everything.
Exactly.
My boyfriend threw away my teddy bear, so I destroyed his Lego collection. I just need to vent. I, 24 female, have been living with my 25 male, now ex-boyfriend, for about 8 months now. I have a teddy bear that my grandmother gave to me when I was younger, and it has no monetary value, but the sentimental value is more important. By the way, this comes from user SecureSun9689 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when I was 8, she gave it to me while she was struggling with cancer. It was stage 4 and it spread quickly and there was nothing they could do. She gave me a teddy bear and told me to take care of it and I could talk to the teddy bear whenever I missed her. Oh my God, my heart's breaking. She got one of those talking mics and put it in, and it would say, I hope you're feeling loved today because I love you more than all the stars in the sky and all the fish in the sea, and you mean the world to me. She would say that all the time when I would spend the night. He knows how much it means to me. I told him. He's seen me hugging the bear and sitting outside to talk to my grandma when I was just sad or needed to vent without judgment or even a response. 2 days ago, he decided that it was raggedy and not appealing to look at. I can admit Bear has been through it. I carried it around with me everywhere for 2 years. He would go in my book bag when I went to school, went to dance class with me. He even went out of town when I had cheer meets when I got into high school. My cousin pulled out one of his eyes when I was 10, and he's missing an arm when my brother got mad at me and cut it off. It was sewn back on and then ripped off again. You get it, right? But he was mine. I found a button that was exactly like his from some bear at Goodwill, and I was going to sew it on his eye. I went to my room. We have separate bedrooms. I can decorate my space how I want and have my workspace, and the same for him, but we always sleep together. I just never had my own room, and I've only been living alone for 2 years, so I want to keep that for a while. I went into my room to fix his eye, and he was not on my bed. I went scouring for him for hours, and he watched me. I started to cry because that was the last thing she gave me, and she made it especially for me. He finally told me he threw it away because it was disgusting, and he hated coming into my room and seeing it. I got so mad, and I felt so betrayed. It wasn't even in his room. It was in hers. And he's like, it looks so gross. I'm going to throw it away. And he knows that the sentimental value it has. This guy's a psychopath. My boyfriend likes to spend time on Legos and building them. He's built the Eiffel Tower, the Harry Potter Tower, a cherry blossom tree, and dozens of others. I went to his room and I destroyed them all. I threw the pieces around the room and out the window and in the garbage. He came in screaming at me and saying, how dare I touch his things that he bought with his money and he spent hours on. I told him he can GTFO and spend hours rebuilding it someplace else because I'm done with him. Yes, be done with this absolute trash can of a person.
Really quick to interject. Terrible what he did. Still don't think you should break his Legos.
Oh, no, dude. I'm surprised that it stopped at just the Legos.
Yeah.
I would be breaking this
I
dude.
understand why you did this. He is terrible. Still, never condone an eye for an eye behavior.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
But understand.
It's not the most enlightened thing that you could have done.
No.
Sam just got back from 10 days of meditation.
I did.
He understands that it's, it's poison for you as well. But at the same time, I'd be going to jail for the things that I would do to this guy if he threw away something that was that sentimental to me. Just very quick story time that relates to something like this. I had a bag in my car that was stolen out of my car that was my diaper bag. And it was like my mom's bag. And it was a nice bag. It was like whatever. And I used it, and it was like just a sentimental thing of like, oh, this was mine when I was a baby, and it'll last forever, and I can maybe pass it. Who knows? And somebody, it's on me because my car was unlocked, but it was parked in the garage. Somebody clearly got into the garage and just took the bags out of my car, and they were just gone. And in that moment, if I could have been face to face with the person who had that bag, jail for me. So the teddy bear with the grandma's voice in it, that passed? Oh my God.
It would be
a solitary confinement, no parole. That's where I would be. Straight up.
never cross Dakota.
Do not mess with me with that stuff, dude. Anyway, he started telling me I was overreacting and whatever else. I forgot a lot of the argument because I was blind with rage. I told him that he had 1 week to get his things out and move out, but he wasn't staying here while it happened. He started telling me that I couldn't do that and he paid bills. I told him I really don't give a crap and to get out or I'd call the police. We have mutual friends and he's told them a completely different story. Because 2 have texted me asking how could I do that to him. Was that you? Did you text her that, Sam?
Oh, I'm just saying.
Lego boy?
I just don't think anyone should inflict hurt on another
All right,
person.
cool. Go sit underneath the bodhisattva tree or whatever, man. That's very cool of you. I really don't care to clear it up. In the moment, I didn't feel bad, but now I kind of do because that's his hobby. But I was so hurt and betrayed by what he did. He's even called me a few times saying that he'll get me another. That is so stupid. I can't even be bothered to explain why.
Yeah.
We'll work on things and don't throw away 3 years over a mistake. There's an update. But like, for him to say, I'll get you a new one, what are you going to do? Resurrect her grandma so she can record another voice recording? Like, are you stupid?
These days, you can clone voices pretty easy, so. But no,
Sam.
That's actually a really good point.
to be clear,
But-
break up with him. Like, you do not deserve this guy. He is terrible for doing that.
Update! I want to say thank you to all the people who told me not to give up on finding my bear because I went out in that dumpster for 3 hours with my sister, my best friend, and even a neighbor came down to help when I told him what happened. And I effing found it!
The bear?
Yes! Yes, she found the bear. Oh my God. That
Thank
was like
God. Resurrected.
I felt like a biggest weight just came off my chest right now.
How do
like-
you feel if you found your bag?
Oh, dude, I would have been so happy.
Yeah.
Like if it was just in a dumpster. Like low key, after it first happened, I was like, because, you know, I live in Hollywood, so there's like a lot of unhoused individuals.
Yeah.
One of them got into the garage and took my bag. I eventually got to a point where I was like, I just hope whatever they're using that bag for, they really needed it. And it's, you know, whatever. I wish them.
That's very light.
I hope they get to a place in their lives where they don't have to take stuff out of other people's cars to, I guess, exist.
That's beautiful.
But at first, I was like, if I see somebody walking around with this bag, I'm immediately pressing the issue. And it's gonna end up being a fight. So I was ready for probably a month after that happened. I was keeping my eyes peeled. I did not find it though. I am so relieved and beyond happy. Also, I love all the men calling me crazy and saying he dodged a bullet and I committed a crime and he should call the police or take me to court, as if he didn't go into my personal space and throw away my property because he didn't like my property in my personal space.
He did an aggressive thing.
I'm sorry. Unless his grandma, who passed away, built all of those Legos for him, this isn't even in the same universe of a thing that you've done. He's lucky that smashing his Legos is all that I did and that I didn't sue him for throwing my bear away. Men are telling me that I committed a crime as if he didn't and that I'm crazy for destroying his things, but he isn't. That I'm immature for being upset that he threw the last thing I have of my grandmother out, but he can buy replicas of the same Harry Potter Lego set until the day he dies if he wants. But I'm the worst person to ever walk this planet. It's insane. Anyway, I found it, and he's air drying. I'm going to sew the button in over the weekend, and my dad and brother will be here while he comes to get his stuff, and that's that. I'm now free of someone who doesn't respect my space or how I feel. Oh, and I didn't come here to ask if I was an a-hole. I don't care if I was. Now that I found my bear, I really don't care, and I can't wait to have my apartment to myself again. And by the way, you can always join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap on our profile.
Just tap it.
And there isn't a little bit more left in the story. Oh, and one more thing. I did tell our mutual friends what he did. I took a picture of all of us digging through the trash to find my bear. I took a picture of the bear and the state he was in after I found him and told them, quote, "Thank you for taking his side and not even trying to figure out the situation. He threw away my property, so I took away his hobby." I also sent the text of him begging me to take him back and admitted what he did. How he watched me cry for hours while I looked for it, knowing he threw it out.
Dude, he's terrible. She should definitely.
Actual sociopath.
She should definitely leave him as soon as possible.
He watched me being distressed and he didn't even care. Those friends have texted me saying he said that I cheated on him. And when he didn't take me back, that I went crazy. And that's the end of that story. And that guy, I want him.
For sure.
I mean, beyond the Oort clouds, he's in the black hole, but I feel like we're experimenting with something that goes beyond the black hole. And I think it might be Tartarus, but it doesn't feel extreme enough.
What's
it doesn't
Tartarus?
feel extreme enough. You know what he is? He gets the Prometheus treatment.
What's the Prometheus?
Chained to a rock.
Oh, liver.
And you get your liver pecked out by seagulls on repeat. Yeah, so not only you're being eroded by the tide as well.
My brother-in-law's girlfriend made a toast about herself at my wedding because she had too much to drink.
That's not your wedding, girl.
This took place at the end of 2016. Our wedding, absolutely beautiful. It wasn't a small wedding, about 100 guests, and we did our best to keep costs as low as possible. And by the way, this comes from historical feature 46 on the ROK Storytime subreddit. So, still, I was able to get the dress of my dreams. The venue was gorgeous. We found an awesome DJ. The bridal party looked amazing. My friend who did our hair and makeup got it all perfect. And the months of sleepless nights making paper flowers paid off. All of our staff were fantastic and professional, but no wedding is complete without a little drama.
So true.
It's
That's
so-
why I always say, if it ain't had a little drama, then it ain't a wedding.
What did you just say? What was
If
that
it
last?
ain't have a little drama, it ain't a wedding.
Okay.
We had few things go wrong that day. Nothing catastrophic, and all funny in retrospect. Morning of, my poor husband discovered half of the groomsmen forgot something. Oh, like all different things. One was missing shoes, one was missing a shirt, that sort of thing. They also had a mission to pick up a typewriter that was used for the guest book.
Kind of cool.
I like that idea.
I like it.
They had to take a detour to the mall and left my very anxious husband in the car while he went in to find the last minute item. They took forever, then came back with a Cinnabon and didn't even bring him any. The nerve of them, lol. Still, they made it back on time for photos and all was well. My husband's cousins nearly got my sister-in-law kicked out. They are from a state where people over 18 are allowed to drink in the presence of their parents or guardians.
What state is
What
that?
state is that? I'm gonna look that up.
This is absolutely not the case here. The older cousins were buying drinks and giving them to one of the younger ones. My sister-in-law happened to be close by. Both times the bartender caught her with a drink. He could have thrown them out on the spot, but instead told my sister-in-law that if the younger cousin had a drink in her hand one more time, he was having them bounced. She was pretty upset with the cousins as this was not her doing. Saved the best for last. My brother-in-law's then girlfriend behavior was entirely unhinged.
That's ridiculous.
This all started over the drink tickets. For context, my mom had graciously paid for unlimited margaritas.
I want to go.
And every guest got one drink ticket.
Just one?
Yeah.
Everyone got
That's
one
a set
drink?
amount of numbers.
Yeah, that's the opposite of unlimited.
Trying to find
that's
the
limited.
bottom.
That's limit. The wedding party got 2, and my mom had a few left over, so a few other random people also wound up with 2. The margaritas were fantastic.
Okay.
Pretty much everyone was happy with this arrangement. Even my booziac father behaved himself. My maid of honor and best man were competing. I think they had somewhere around 12 each,
Whoa.
and neither of them made a scene.
12 drinks? I'm confused. Was it unlimited or was it limited?
Well, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if you're
There is no
serious.
limit.
I think they just bought a bunch of drinks.
Okay.
Yeah. The chick was telling anyone who would listen how tacky it was that we didn't have an open bar. And she got really upset that she didn't get 2 drink tickets. She decided she was family. Okay, so this is the brother-in-law's girlfriend.
Yeah. She decided she was family? Okay.
She decided she was family, so she was owed another one.
You should bring a flask.
Yeah. You tell him. Mind you, most people tolerated her at best. Many couldn't stand her. She tried to talk to my husband about this first, but he was clearly busy. He told her, I don't have time for this. Talk to my mom, his mother-in-law. Crazy then snagged my mother-in-law's best friend after having found out she had happened to get 2 drink tickets, inviting to the bar. She instead dragged a family friend to my mother and began to make a scene about a family friend getting 2 tickets, embarrassing the poor lovely woman who thought they were just getting more drinks. She found someone who got 2.
Yeah. and
Brought
she
that to the
bullied
mom,
them.
and she was like, "How dare she have 2 tickets
she's like,
and I only have 1?"
I'm sorry.
She's like, "I
didn't know."
It was given to me." So after OP's brother-in-law's girlfriend embarrassed this other woman,
Yeah.
and caused a scene, OP's mom was annoyed, but her boyfriend gave Crazy his tickets to get rid of her.
Yeah.
This was not the end. She began stealing people's drinks. This is getting more and more
That's
unhinged.
This girl's
funny.
wild.
That's so funny. She's going around finding anyone who has second drink tickets, and she's like, "Give it to me!"
No, I think she's like,
She's like
Oh,
taking
she's
them.
stealing
She's
drinks?
just straight up stealing. She's, like, oh, that's your purse. Let me just. That's
no, I think there's like a drink on the table,
No,
and they're turned
that's even
around,
worse.
and she's like, yoink.
Like, "Ooh,
Oh,
thank
those are the
you."
worst. I've never.
That's
I know
crazy.
someone like that in college. I knew someone like that in college. I was like, that's disgusting.
insane.
Yeah, it's wild.
You have a problem.
So this was not the end. She began stealing people's drinks. The owner of the restaurant bought my husband a Long Island. He only got a few sips before we were whisked off to take pictures, leaving it on the head table. It was gone when we returned. Maybe we wouldn't have known it was her. She hadn't been so blatantly going up to tables and claiming drinks as hers.
She's like, "No, this is mine."
This is mine. That one's mine. That's
They're
mine.
Like, oh no, I think that's mine. She's like, "Nope."
It is mine.
She's like holding all these drinks. She's
Yeah.
like, "They're all mine."
I heard she got told off by my 90-pound, no-nonsense Irish grandmother for trying to take my nephew's apple juice. She's like,
It wasn't even alcoholic.
she's like, trying to literally
She needed
steal from a
chaser.
child.
She wanted
Yeah, she was
chaser.
like,
yeah.
"What? I had tequila, apple juice.
This is not yours. It is for a child. It has a lid.
It's got a sippy cup."
I wish I saw that one in person. About this time, the toast had started. My maid of honor gave a beautiful speech that no one wanted to follow. The best man was off the hook as he was also the officiant. The mic got passed down to my husband's older brother, not the one dating Crazy. He said something short and sweet, and that should have been it. But then, Crazy exits the men's room.
Whoa.
Girly.
having painted it in vomit,
Girly.
struts across the patio, making a beeline for the microphone.
Girly needs an intervention.
No one
Yeah.
sees that. No one's like in slow motion. Like,
Like,
someone needs to stop her. Yeah.
Girly needs an intervention. Big time.
My biggest disappointment is that no one got this on film.
I know this is hilarious.
The only the only evidence we have is a well-timed photo of my brother-in-law's crap-eating grin as he hands over the mic, knowing this is going to be wild. Okay, so the brother-in-law with his own girlfriend is like, all right, yeah. Talk your crap.
Yeah.
The entire wedding stood there in stunned silence as she proceeded to welcome me to the family and then goes on to talk about how much she hopes she will be a part of this family someday as
like,
well.
She's like, welcome to the family. I'm not an idiot, but I hope to be.
One day.
Woo.
One day.
She's drunk. Will you marry me?
Like, actually, let's speed this up. We're getting married right now.
Give me the flowers.
It's not your wedding
Give me
anymore.
the
It's my
flowers.
wedding.
And then he has to. It's the law.
It's the law.
So many people told me they thought she was going to propose to my husband's younger brother on the spot.
I think the brother-in-law who gave her is not his. That's not his girlfriend.
Oh.
I think it was a different brother-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He is hiding his face in embarrassment, cursing under his... Okay, he definitely did not give her the mic.
No.
He's hiding his face in embarrassment, cursing under his breath, and gesturing wildly, attempting to get crazy to stop talking. He's like, stop it. Multiple people told me they thought about tackling her. My mom said if she was on our side of the family, she would have kicked her out. The whole speech was probably about 5 minutes. That's a long
That's
time.
a long speech.
But it felt way long.
But it felt way longer. For a drunk person
beautiful.
to be making an unhinged speech,
Yeah, no one's
5
stopping
minutes
it.
is a long
Like,
time.
it's really beautiful here today. I've
And-
drank an apple juice
But
and
it
a
was
Long
like
Island
stole it
iced
from the
tea.
kid, and you're gonna marry me. I'm not one who really cares about image, and I in no way think she ruined my day.
Honestly, she made the day.
OP is
No, this-
like
yeah.
taking this
OP's
with
like,
stride.
This is great.
She's like finding this
Opie had her
hilarious.
popcorn
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah.
go.
I
She's
love
like,
that. Opie's like,
I'll drink to that.
She's like the tea is unfolding right as we
she's
speak.
like, everyone's gonna remember my wedding day.
Yeah, literally. I'm not one who really cares about image, and I in no way think she ruined my day. All in all, it's a funny story to tell. She continued with little annoyances like asking the DJ to play Get Swifty from Rick and Morty.
Jesus.
Okay.
That's really funny. After being told not to multiple times by my husband, he's like, please,
Please
I
let me
don't want to
play.
listen to Get Swifty. She's like, one more
One more
time.
time.
One more time.
My jam.
Funny song. Not appropriate for a wedding full of kids and grandparents. Thankfully, the DJ cut it off pretty fast. So he played it. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
shit.
It's like, yeah, she's asking.
After a while, I lost track of her and just enjoyed the rest of the night. Now for the cherry on top.
Oh,
Her
how can it get better than this?
apology.
Is she still drunk? I hope so.
Hopefully. My mom had paid for 2 suites at the hotel next door. One was the bridal suite and one the groom's suite. The second night, mom and her boyfriend got one room and the other was for my husband and I. Apparently, Crazy thought that she and her brother-in-law were going to stay in that room and had to be corrected. So after all of this, I'm standing there exhausted, itching to take my dress off with my brother-in-law wastedly collects the last of his stuff from the night before. She takes this moment to apologize for her speech. I never want you to apologize for listening to us. Full episodes with stories like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Slay.
There's another relevant update, but let's discuss. This is great. We should just only have stories like this.
This was great. Honestly, she didn't ruin your day.
She made it.
She made it.
No
She
one got
maybe ruined her
hurt.
life,
Yeah.
but she's ruined no one's day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one got hurt.
No one got
Uh-huh.
hurt.
Maybe just maybe the boyfriend's
Maybe the
like,
boyfriend's pride.
Just
Yeah.
just pride and embarrassment. But
yeah, but like that's his girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, the kid got his apple juice.
Yeah,
stolen.
the kid got his apple juice stolen.
Yeah.
He's
and
the real victim.
The grandma's
of
like
this
on the
family.
rocks.
And the rocks.
And you're wacky. This apology went something like this. Sorry for all of that, but I really do hope to be part of this family soon. It's so great you and your husband have been together since high school. You grew up together. That's your thing. I've never swallowed. That's my thing.
What?
What? What?
Apology.
Accepted.
Apology on pause.
Apology loading.
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I have no words. I'm completely baffled and just want her to leave, but I'm too nice/awkward to do more than politely nod and say, Oh, okay.
That was our response.
Well, have a good night. To this day, I am baffled by this behavior, but the story is great for a laugh.
So true.
There's a small update. Yes, they broke up, but not because of this. It was a while later. That's wild. He knows how to pick them. At least she's not as wild as his baby mama.
Oh no, there's probably another story for that.
Yeah, submit that story.
Ooh, dang, man.
All right, so there's some relevant comments.
Wait, did I miss that? Did she say I don't swallow?
She said, I don't swallow. That's my thing. She was comparing her spicy sleep tendencies to them marrying their high school sweetheart.
Okay.
That's why Alex and I were
Oh,
that's why we were
okay.
like, oh.
Yeah.
I no, but I think I registered part of it and I was just confused.
You were actually, bro.
I was actually loading for me.
Yeah.
Apologies, still loading.
So how do you feel about it now that
It's
loaded?
the same. I'm shocked.
You're like, it's still.
It still doesn't make sense.
Now these comments. Wow, she sounds fun. Love that she got told off by your grandma. So funny. I'm hoping they're not together anymore. She rates with the chicken dance lady at a friend's wedding. OP replied, haha, no, they're not. She was one of those people who always gave me social anxiety. Like I'm supposed to smile and pretend that I'm remotely interested in what you're saying. Comment 2. I've never swallowed. Instant dump, haha.
The internet stays undefeated.
Yeah, for real.
Excellent
Comment 3.
work.
Are they still together? I have to know. OP replied, haha, no, but this was not what broke them up. She was an entitled nut, but he was blindly infatuated. Was she like really hot?
Oh,
She gotta be.
She
Has
gotta
to
be like
be.
really
Yeah,
hot.
But she doesn't swallow.
But she doesn't. But she doesn't swallow.
My friend uninvited me from her wedding because I needed to sleep after driving all day.
Girls gotta sleep.
Girls gotta sleep, let her. This happened a few years ago. Here's a bit of the backstory before I get into the real story. Buckle up, it's a long one. I had recently become friends with this girl, we'll call her Anita, after knowing her for about a year or so from interacting through our jobs. The first time we hung out was a chaotic mess, but that's another story. By the way, this comes from OKQuit8778, and if you want to submit your own stories, just go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So anyway, she had a guy friend, let's call him Carl, that has asked her on a date, but he wasn't her usual type, so she wasn't sure if she should go on the date. I told her to give it a shot, and the worst that could happen is that she doesn't like him romantically, and they go back to being friends. They ended up dating for a few months before he decided to propose.
Dang,
Few
man. A few months.
Wow.
Girl wasn't sure, and then a few months later, she's like, well, I'm ready to marry.
All right. I help with the proposal by videotaping it for them. Anita ends up asking me to be her maid of honor because I'm the reason that they started dating in the first place. How sweet. I say yes, but also ask about her other friend, let's call her Maggie, who she had been friends with for longer. Anita didn't want Maggie to be her maid of honor, but had told Maggie that she wouldn't have a lot of time with her work schedule and didn't want her to stress. Fast forward to bachelorette trip planning. Anita wanted to plan a trip with Carl for a combined bachelorette trip to Kentucky since she's a big horse person and wanted to attend the Derby. This was right at the time of the pandemic when a lot of places were closed or had restrictions. We weren't going to be able to be in the infield to watch it like she wanted, and she was bummed, but she said that we could still go and watch it at a bar or something. I suggested that we could save the Derby trip for another time after the pandemic when we could fully enjoy it and maybe go somewhere else like the beach. My family has a condo in Florida that we could stay at for a discounted rate if she wanted, but I would fully support her if she still wanted to go to Kentucky. She ended up deciding on the beach trip, so I started to plan. Anita had 2 other bridesmaids beside me and Maggie. Let's call them Cassie and Penny. With the pandemic, we decided that we would be better off driving to Florida instead of flying because we wouldn't have to quarantine afterward according to our jobs, and it would end up being cheaper. I did not make very much money at the time. I was working at a vet clinic for about $12.50 an hour.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
And Penny was unemployed. Cassie never gave us a straight answer on whether she was going or not, but I still calculated costs as if she was. I ended up fronting the money for Penny's share so that we could make the reservation for the condo as well. I would also like to note that during all of this planning, Anita kept saying that she was almost 30 and didn't want anything crazy. She did not want the typical male genitalia decorations all over the place, so that's how I planned the trip. Relaxing and not crazy. I did buy some nice drink tumblers, which I think were about $25 a piece, and had my sister customize them for us. Right before the trip, Cassie tells us that she's not coming. I asked her if she would pay her share since I calculated everything with the intention of her coming, and she agreed. That's nice of her. We decided to leave late evening and drive overnight so that we could be there around the time of check-in. I work a half day and go home to try and sleep a bit, but never actually got sleep. I ended up driving the entire 18 hours straight through the night on my own. I wasn't going to make the bride drive, and Maggie and Penny both have bad driving records, so I didn't want to risk my car to an accident with one of them driving. We ended up getting to Florida earlier than we expected because with all of them sleeping, I only had to stop when it was time for gas. Thankfully, my sister lives an hour from our destination, and we were already planning on stopping at her house for a lunch anyway. I ended up not getting a nap at my sister's either because I was too busy loving on my nephew, who was only like 5 months old at the time. I drove us the rest of the way to the condo, so tired that my eyes were drooping at a stoplight 5 minutes from the condo, but we made it. Once in the condo, after figuring out sleeping arrangements, I decided to be nice and sleep on the pull-out sofa so everyone else could have the comfy beds. We decided to go straight to the pool and hot tub for a much-needed chill after the drive. Mind you, I've been awake for over 24 hours at this point, with 18 of that being focused on driving. After the pool, we headed to the room to figure out dinner plan. We decided to just order delivery and choose Jimmy John's.
I think it's Jimmy John's. Is that a sandwich place? Sounds like a sandwich place. Is it a pizza place?
That might be.
Who's Jimmy John?
I think it might be sandwich. I don't know. Once we placed the order, it says our delivery ETA is the next morning.
What?
So we called Jimmy John's and they said that it's because it's spring break and they are short on drivers and it's busy.
Okay, but I'm sorry. That should have just said can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
no order.
Not like we can do it in the morning.
Or, yeah, we'll come like 12 hours from now.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Like what?
No, just say you're booked.
Yeah.
Or like you don't know the
Exactly.
drivers.
Exactly. But we could come pick up our order in 20 minutes if we wanted. So I told the other girls that I can't drive anymore and that I was super tired and wanted to stay in the condo, but they were more than welcome to take my car 2 miles down the road to Jimmy John's. They said that that's fine. Go and pick up dinner and bring it back. After eating, I end up passing out on the sofa bed while they were all chatting. Most of the days we were there, we were not very eventful, but the one night we had gone out for dinner and drinks, Anita was mad that people weren't buying her drinks. Oh, well.
Like, wait, like random people? Like she was mad that the guys were buying her drinks? Or just
I'm
like that
assuming the
her
girls.
friends? Okay.
I'm assuming that, yeah. She had received $100 on Venmo from a guy friend of hers, and then Carl also sent her $100. So not really sure why she cares if college guys on spring breaks don't want to buy her drinks.
You're on your bachelorette trip
Yeah,
because you're about to get married to a man
right. And you're like, why are
that you're in a
why
committed
aren't people hitting
relationship.
on me? What the heck? Like, well, I
Would
mean, I guess if you
would
feel that
want
way just for personal insecurity reasons,
Yeah.
I guess. But like, you can't complain.
Yeah.
You have to remind
you're
yourself,
about to get into a
I'm
committed
literally
relationship.
getting married. I don't
Yeah.
need these guys. I don't need these fools.
Yeah, these like children
Yeah, literally.
from school.
Spring break, college, man. Otherwise, everyone was acting like they were having a great time. We end up deciding to break up the drive home and stop in Nashville for a night, planning to go to a few bars while we're there. We get in around 6 p.m., have dinner, and then head out. I tell the group we need to leave by 6 a.m. if we want to get home at the time everyone agreed on. The first bar we go to has a live band playing, and it turns out that the band is from the same general area that we are.
Hell yeah.
We bond with the lead singer over that and our choice of. We decide to buy him a drink, so I do, and give it to him. After that bar closes at around 11 p.m., Anita decides that she wants to go to another bar for dancing, so we find one that was recommended.
Dude, I'm sorry, 11 p.m. and y'all have to wake up at 6? People are impressive. People are impressive.
We all dance and have a great time. I'm not drinking much, so I can take care of the bride if she needed. She ends up making friends with one of the security guys, and he invites us to go smoke with him after a shift when the bar closes. At 2 a.m.
Ooh, I would be so angry if this were me.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's like,
I would be crying.
if you want to do that, you gotta drive next morning.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Sorry, girl.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Everyone else will nap.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m., we are outside the bar waiting for this guy along with one of his friends when I text our group chat saying, not to be a party pooper, but we need to leave in 4 hours and I need sleep if I'm going to drive us home. Everyone ignores me, so I it up and stay quiet.
No, be like, I'm going home. Go home, honestly.
Well, I think they might have all driven out.
Uber.
Yeah, they could Uber. They could figure that out.
Yeah.
The guy finishes his shift and we start walking towards the river with him and his friend. I'm a bit uncomfortable, but again, I keep my mouth shut. We find a spot to sit by the river and they start passing a blunt around, which I kindly refuse. A little after 3 a.m., they decide they want to go somewhere for food.
Dude, oh my God, I'd be so pissed.
At that point, I finally snap and say that I need to sleep if I'm going to be able to drive. I tell them I'm getting in an Uber back to the place we're staying and they are more than welcome to stay out. Maggie decides to take the Uber back with me, and I vent to her, saying that if this was the kind of trip that Anita wanted, then she should have said so, and I would have planned differently. Maggie just tells me that I should have known that this is what Anita wanted. We ended up leaving 3 hours later than planned because I slept through my alarm, and instead of waking me up, Anita and Penny were passive-aggressively texting in our group chat. Girl, let her sleep. What the heck?
I am sorry. If someone is driving you a large amount of hours after 3 hours of sleep and you're passive aggressively texting about them in the group chat?
Yeah. Like, come on.
What
you
are
have
you
to
doing?
understand that people need sleep to drive.
Literally to get you home safely.
Right. I end up speed packing and taking my stuff to my car and wait for them, and I'm pretty pissed off for the drive home. I put my headphones in and listen to an audiobook so that I can focus on driving and not talking to them. We ended up getting home at 10 p.m., 5 hours later than planned. When I wake up the next morning, it's to a text from Anita saying that my behavior during the trip was inexcusable and selfish, and that she no longer wants me in the bridal party, but that I am more than welcome to attend her wedding still as a guest. And also something along the lines of not going to go into detail about what I did that was so inexcusable because I should already know. That's what she texted me. She also makes a Facebook post about how she and Carl had fired someone from their bridal party and that they want everyone to respect their decision because they did what was best for them and their wedding. Girl. And all of the comments are calling me a B and all sorts of other nasty things. Holy crap. I had requested $25 from each bridesmaid on Venmo to cover the cost of the cups that I had bought, and all of the bridesmaids and the bride canceled that request and instead requested the amount that they paid for the trip back since I made it such a dumpster fire. Holy crap. What? These people are crazy.
Oh my God.
These people are crazy. But no one complained while on the trip or said anything to me at all, and all seemed to have fun up until I snapped about needing to sleep to drive for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, these are not your friends.
Not at all.
Not your
at all.
friends. They're taking advantage of your kindness and your willingness to drive them 10 to 18 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's absolutely crazy. Cancel all those requests. You got their money. You'll survive without the $25, even though that's, but like, still whatever.
Well, I think it's like $25, like times 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like,
Still.
just like, honestly, I'd be like, cancel that request.
Just be like, okay, fine. By the way, what I do like is when you check out full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
True. But there's a little bit left of the story.
There is a little bit left. So I ended up blocking everyone on Facebook and definitely did not attend the wedding as a guest. Maggie ended up taking over the maid of honor position, and my dad ended up giving just me my portion of the money that we spent on the condo back. Oh, and Anita and Carl got divorced less than a year later.
Shocking.
And that is the end of the story. Are we surprised?
No.
Not at all.
Not
Sorry,
at
you
all
marry a guy after a
surprised.
few months and you get divorced.
Yeah, and then
less
you
than
make
year
a
later.
You treat your friends like this?
Come
and
on.
then do you favors?
Come on. Like, how are you treating your husband then?
Yeah.
Come
But
on.
that is the end of the story.
The friend I hosted suddenly vanished along with my valuables?
Hosted or ghosted, am I right, guys? Dude, freaking bars.
Hey everyone, looking for some advice and just to tell this insane story. This all started at the end of December when I invited some friends to celebrate New Year's Eve with me and my boyfriend. Before we go any farther, this story comes from one of our very freaking own
No way.
r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Another one.
We planned a chill few days before the party. By the way, this comes from Useful Platypus 27. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my friend Lana and her boyfriend Tobias were coming. I met Lana while backpacking in Easter Island, and she and Tobias are the sweetest people. Since they live in another country, I was really excited to see them. While making plans, another backpacking friend, Alex, reached out on Instagram saying he was coming to Europe. Since he'd be passing through the Netherlands, I told him to stop by and mention our New Year's Eve gathering. He got excited and wanted to join us. The arrival disaster a couple of days before the New Year's Eve party, Lana and Tobias arrived midday. We had a great time catching up and walking around town. Meanwhile, Alex messaged me that he was on his way from Germany where he had spent Christmas. He was supposed to arrive that day around 8 p.m., but kept getting delayed. At one point, he mentioned having some drinks, so I assumed he might have fallen asleep on the train. I told him that if his phone passed away, he should meet me in front of the Starbucks near the station. Meanwhile, my boyfriend and I were enjoying a relaxed evening with Lana and Tobias to pass board games and wine. Alex kept being delayed at some point and he would arrive at 1 a.m. We made a quick phone call where I asked if he minds walking to my place which he said he didn't. Whilst we were getting ready for sleep, we waited up for him. 10 minutes after his expected arrival, I texted him. No response. At 1:40 a.m., I called. No answer. My boyfriend and I started getting worried, so we hopped on our bikes to check the station. He was nowhere to be seen. We spent the next hour cycling around the city, asking people if they'd seen him, checking the few places still open. Not many, since it was Sunday. Nothing. Eventually, we headed home. I even called the police just to check if he had ended up there. At this point, we were both worried and really confused. I barely slept that night. The next day, still no sign of him. The next morning, Lana and Tobias, who didn't even know Alex, kept an eye out while exploring the city. I called a few hotels and the Starbucks where he was supposed to meet me. No luck. Since my boyfriend and I work freelance, we try to focus on work, but I couldn't shake the unease. I started thinking maybe he lost his phone and couldn't access Instagram. I knew his last name, so I searched online and actually found his parents' phone number and email. Figuring he might remember their number by heart, I left a message with my contact info in case he reached out. His parents didn't answer. By 5 p.m., we decided to go to the police to report it, mostly for our peace of mind. That evening, we tried to relax, playing pool and cooking dinner. Then at 8 p.m., I checked my phone and Alex had sent me a follow request on Instagram.
Interesting.
The strange excuse.
Yeah.
I immediately called him. Turns out his phone broke on the train and he had no idea what to do. So he arrived, looked around for us, and then just booked a hotel. He apologized and we were relieved that he was okay. But in the back of my mind, I was suspicious. It just seemed like a weird situation. I'm not buying this.
What do you think happened otherwise?
Seems like a setup, dude. Just like they're
what?
setting him up for something. I'm not buying it.
I don't know. I kind of, it seems weird for sure, but like, I don't really know what else would have happened.
Dion, what do you think?
I don't know. Like, if you're traveling, I get it. It's hard to communicate because you don't have like the SIM card or, you know, some things happen. It's happened to me. My phone got stolen while studying abroad. It happens and it sucks.
That's no good.
Yeah. You have people you can talk to and like, hey, can I just message somebody or go on Facebook or go on your Instagram for like a quick second. It takes like 3 minutes to sign into your Instagram or Facebook or whatever, just to message somebody. So that was kind of odd that he didn't do it immediately.
Yeah.
That's my take. But also, one day, that's okay. You check the next day. And if you don't get any messages, then I would go to the police.
Agreed.
Yeah, going to the police seems a little bit fast.
It was really quick.
Yeah.
You gave it a day, pretty much. Not even a day. You gave it like half a day.
2.
Yeah.
He finally showed up with his backpack, feeling bad about everything. We said not to worry and happy that we found him. We had dinner, drank some wine, played board games. To be honest, we all were after a good time, and at that point, there was no reason to be annoyed or to raise questions. We just give him the benefit of the doubt and just had a good time. New Year's Eve, the disappearance. The next day, we planned to visit a spa before the New Year's Eve party in the morning. I reminded Alex to check out of his hotel and maybe buy flip-flops for the spa. I mentioned that he could rent a robe as it was required. Later, he returned, not with flip-flops, but with a robe, saying he bought it at a store. He mentioned that his girlfriend didn't have a robe, which he could give the robe to her. Despite the weirdness, the next few days were fun. We spent 8 hours at a spa, had lunch, and relaxed. Okay. That evening, we ate traditional Swiss food. It was a nice mix of people from our different countries, me Dutch, Lana and Tobias German, and my boyfriend Leo Swiss, Alex American. Alex mentioned a few times that he would chip in for food and booze as he drank a lot.
Typical American.
Typical American.
Typical American drinks a lot? Wow.
Am I right?
When I was in Bali, there were Dutch and Germans there, and all my American friends were drinking way more than they were.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Germans and the French did love me.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's crazy.
I told him I'd appreciate it since we already bought everything before he arrived. New Year's Eve was great. We danced all night, watched the fireworks, and got home around 6 a.m. The next morning, Leah took Lana and Tobias to their car while I started cleaning the apartment. At some point, Alex mentioned needing some alone time and wanted to grab a coffee. I understood. It had been an intense few days in the small apartment. Still, whilst we were talking a bit and the atmosphere was a little awkward, and I just couldn't pinpoint why it was strange. He stood up and wanted to take his backpack. I asked him as he was coming back later, why not leave it here as it's a heavy and big bag? And he told me he wanted to take it as it had his laptop in it. This caught me off guard as he had already found my website and could have reached to me sooner when his phone was broken. So things aren't adding up here.
Interesting.
We discussed that we would either visit Amsterdam for a night and then come back, or he would return later that evening. We made plans for the next few days. Still, it was a little weird as he didn't even say bye to Leo, who was coming back anytime. The vanishing act. Later that day, Alex messaged me that he would head to London earlier than expected and would be staying somewhere else that night. We said, cool, let's talk tomorrow. That's when things got weird. While doing laundry, I realized my new robe was missing. Alex's robe was still there. I messaged him asking if he had seen it, mentioned he forgot his robe, and asked if he was coming back. No response.
What? Why?
Over the next few days, I sent him another message, including a payment request for some of the food and booze and the spa, around 60 euros. Still nothing. Me and Leo actually drove to the spa to check if it was there, but it wasn't. Weeks passed, and I realized one of my sweaters was missing that I was sure was in the living room, where he stayed. I asked Lana, but she said she hadn't seen it. We had a phone call and agreed it was strange. We hadn't heard from Alex at all. Leo, meanwhile, was getting increasingly annoyed at the lack of respect, ghosting us after making plans and not paying me back. Then, while cleaning my apartment before heading to Switzerland, I made another discovery. My analog camera was gone. This wasn't just any camera. It belonged to my late grandfather and still had a full roll of film from a trip Leo and I took to Tunisia.
Wow.
I had a long chat with Lana about this matter, and she feels sick about it. Oh my gosh.
He just took everything?
Yeah,
All of this like valuable stuff.
gone.
Dude.
That's my travel tip. Whenever you can never trust anybody.
Mm,
They could be the coolest person. Just have all your belongings
yeah.
locked up. That's why you bring locks on your when you travel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That seems good. Truly.
especially in like hostels or Airbnb, wherever
oh
you go.
gosh, hostels. Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't take the stuff, as I know and trusted them. And besides, they were just not that kind of people. I traveled with Alana 6 countries, and she really gets upset about this kind of stuff. What do I do now? At this point, I had given Alex multiple chances to respond, including sending him a payment request for about 60 euros. Honestly, the scooter rental and extra costs from that night searching for him weren't cheap either, and I barely worked that day. But the money isn't the main issue. It's the missing items, and more than anything, the trust that's been broken. I think it's hard to assume he took my stuff, although on the other side, he's not responding to my messages. By the way, you can respond to us after the story by checking out your favorite podcast platform, searching up OK Storytime, and checking out our stories, because we got a bunch of crazy ones just like this one.
Come on down.
Come on down.
Dang, man.
Can you do anything? He's
I don't
gone.
know.
There's no such like. This is just, yeah.
It's kind of how it be when you're traveling, I guess.
This is just.
Dang, man.
There's no such thing as like travel insurance for this kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
Plus, they live at home. This is their
Like-
home.
yeah.
I know some people might say, why invite someone you didn't even know that well? But in the backpacking world, there's a sense of mutual respect. You travel together, look out for each other. I let him into my home, was hospitable, and now I feel used. I don't know what my next step should be. Should I confront him? Should I let it go? I just feel bad that this whole situation has cast a shadow over what was supposed to be a fun and meaningful reunion. I confront him, and I mean, I know those pictures are gone. I'm really sorry about that part.
Yeah. The camera. I know. I would, I don't know though, because it's hard. Like, if they don't see each other in person at all, then confronting him would just be like messaging him on whatever app.
And he's not going to answer.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't even know if that's going to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
But it's really just kind of so crappy though. And they were so worried about this guy. And they were like literally just worried about his safety when he wasn't like talking to them. He has to feel bad about that. That's so crappy.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
But that's the end of that story.
I forgave my friend after she betrayed me, but now I'm starting to regret it.
Should have never forgave her.
Bear with me. There is a lot of context to this series of events, and I feel a good deal of background information will be helpful in getting the whole picture across. So I, 27 female, have this friend, 28 female, that I will call Sarah. I met her through the guy I was dating back in 2017, who later became my baby daddy. She was the wife of one of his best friends, and the three of them, along with a few other people that I grew to know, were part of a larger friend group that had been friends since at least high school. 2014 grads, I believe, just for some time frame context. I was from out of town, so I was the only outsider for the most part. By the way, this comes from user NoCharge6005, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So anyway, the first attempt at that relationship with baby daddy failed after 5 months, but I stayed in mild contact with Sarah. A little more than a year after the breakup, my naive self took him back, and that
catapulted many, many occasions of double dates for dinner, schmirk sessions, hiking, sleepovers, and me building relationships with Sarah's 2 young daughters. She became the best friend I'd always wanted, the kind that you do everything with. Thrift shopping, grocery shopping, taking the kids to the park, and grabbing Waffle House, taking a couple's trip to Colorado, or sitting in the other's house while they cleaned for moral support. I would support her at her job at the brewery and do anything to be there for her in any way I could. And she did the same for me. She was who I ranted to when crap would hit the fan in my relationship, and the one always telling me I deserved better. The one reassuring my beauty and convincing me I was worth being loved and treated right. But she also watched me stay through one problem after the next, and she realized that nothing she said would influence me, and I got to the point where I stopped sharing those issues with her as I noticed she wasn't wanting to be helpful, and I get that. I don't blame her for that. Cut to mid-late January 2020. She comes over with her oldest, just with generic plans to hang out that day. I hadn't had my period in a few months, but I was so far down the Delulu black hole that I wasn't even attempting to question it up to that point. So I'm not sure what finally came over me, but I decided that day to buy some pregnancy tests. The 3 of us had gone shopping, had lunch, and came back to my apartment. I took the test, and surprise, I was pregnant. Like, very pregnant. It took no less than 3 seconds to show the double lines. After that, I was so excited. My best friend knew exactly what it was like to be in my shoes, and I would have someone along the way that could support me in ways my other friends may not have known how to. And I was also 3 hours away from my family. She bought clothes for my baby and would talk about how our kids would all be besties and grow up together, always having each other. And over the next few months, the high-frequency visits and days out became less. Digital communication lessened. One major thing occurring at this point were troubles in Sarah's marriage, and I knew she was going through a lot, so I never pressured her. I also didn't have the energy for it anyway. It turned out, when I took the pregnancy test, I was 18 weeks, so by the time a couple months had passed, I was over 6 months pregnant. Nonetheless, I still had hope and never questioned anything. Enter a friend who I will call Cassidy. She's a friend of Sarah's that I hadn't spent too much time around. They met online through mutual friends, and I wasn't ever around when she was. Whether they were doing things with a group of girls, I wasn't a part of it, or just the 2 of them. Mine and Sarah's time together was always during other times. And over time, somehow she started convincing me that Cassidy hated me. Sarah would start telling stories later that I found to be lies, that Cassidy was saying hurtful things about me, and how she felt I was stuck up or annoying. And granted, I'm a weirdo, so I am annoying, lol, and told me Cassidy couldn't stand being around me. So I never made efforts to try and be a part of the little female friend group her and Cassidy were a part of.
Wait, why? Who told her this?
Sarah, her friend.
I don't know if I would ever tell my friend that my other friend didn't like them.
I'm trying to think of the appropriate situation for that. But again, OP did say that this was found to be untrue.
Oh, that's even weirder.
Yeah, she said, which I later found out this was all a lie.
That's so weird.
So this is now Sarah. Why are we lying, Sarah?
Maybe Sarah's like, I want to have friendship with only Cassidy and then friendship with only OP, and I don't want them to come together.
My theory is that I think Sarah actually is frustrated with OP, but instead of just being like, hey, here are my frustrations, she's just being like, yeah, actually,
Cassidy's super frustrated at you
thinks all this stuff about you
for not communicating with her.
Yeah.
Her.
So she's getting the catharsis of letting it out without actually having to be honest about it. That's my guess, at least. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So I never made efforts to try and be a part of the little female friend group her and Cassidy were a part of, and Cassidy never made efforts to join when I was in attendance. Until one day in May of 2020, about 1 month before I gave birth, she was having a birthday party for her youngest, and we were both there for it. Cassidy and I started interacting and realized we actually liked each other and had quite a bit in common. We added each other on socials and Snapchat, and a budding acquaintanceship formed. One day, maybe a week after having my daughter, I replied to Cassidy's Snap story telling her I liked her necklace. She eventually branched out to ask me how Sarah had been doing because they had not been speaking to each other. I don't recall how the beginning of the conversation went, but we got to talking about the kinds of things that Sarah would tell us about the other, or where she made plans and flaked, sometimes with no heads up or communication of any kind, and things started making sense. Pieces of the puzzle started fitting together, and we got a broad idea of what we were seen as to Sarah and how she had played us against each other. Those times she had flaked on me, she was with Cassidy, telling her how I canceled or something had came up, and vice versa when she was flaking on Cassidy.
Sarah, what are we doing?
Sarah.
Sarah, where's this coming from?
What's all this about, man? Just use your big girl words. Tell people how you're feeling. Don't just do all this kind of backstage stuff.
All the lies that she told me of Cassidy talking negatively about me supposedly never happened, and Cassidy was being told the exact same things verbatim about me talking crap about her. From then, we started getting closer, though still more on the acquaintance side of friendship for a while, and I cut off Sarah. I had confronted her, and I was met with extreme defensiveness and with no apology, or at least one that wasn't genuine, and that's why there wasn't reconciliation. Now, getting into the meat of the story. Oh, that was just the appetizer.
That was just a little amuse-bouche.
That was just a little crudité, or as they say in Missouri, a little crudite.
Crudite.
We don't speak French. But there's a lot of French towns in Missouri.
Yeah, and so they just kind of do their best at them.
Yeah, it used to be a part of the Louisiana Purchase, I think. Was it? Could be wrong about that. Don't
know,
actually
I
quote me on
believe
that.
you.
I take it back.
Quote,
anyway,
quote.
Before the end of 2020, I left town to move back in with family for financial reasons and help support me with my newborn. I went about life only checking Sarah's socials occasionally out of nosiness. Okay, it was like weekly. I admit it. It wasn't until the following summer that she reached out trying to reconcile with me. She explained why she had been acting weird and why she started getting distant. Something along the lines of marriage trouble / divorce / being desperate for likes on the internet and pushing her to spend more time with aesthetic girls that would end in photo shoots, as well as apologizing for not being the supportive friend I deserve. She begged for me to give her another chance, and I did. By mid-August 2021, I was traveling 3 hours to stay in her home to be with her as she celebrated her birthday. We searched store after store for party decor and food. She treated me to Cracker Barrel and took me to church, where we prayed about Cassidy, who was having a hard time. We had a blast of a time, and I was so happy to have my friend back. But unfortunately, that didn't last long. And by the 25th of that same month, she was making some huge confessions.
Stop making confessions. We're not in church.
Now, to backtrack just a few weeks, I had just ended my relationship with baby daddy and was single upon her birthday weekend. I moved into my mom's by the 22nd. So while there's nothing normal about how I was conducting life at that point compared to how I had been, it was my new normal. I think you'd be astounded at how normal moving back in with your family can be.
Yeah, I mean, tons of people do it. Especially when you have a new baby, you know, you no longer have the support system that you had with your partner. It makes sense.
Yeah. The 25th of August, 2021 is a day that will remain burned into my mind forever. To date, it's the worst day I've experienced. It started out as a normal Wednesday. I was at work where I was a babysitter having casual conversation with Sarah on Snap when my phone let me know it was at 1%. So I plugged it in up in another room and went about my day for the next hour or so. When I got it off the charger, I had an ungodly amount of Snap videos from Sarah. And while it was not unusual to have long videos from her, as we would rant, cry, and generally yap to each other very often in the form of Snap videos, as we couldn't usually find simultaneous free time to talk on the phone, this was an extremely large number of snaps to get, like 10 plus minutes of video. Well, it's just like a FaceTime you have with a Nextel chirp. Did that make sense to you at all, what I just said?
What?
You know what a Nextel chirp is?
What the heck are you saying?
They were walkie-talkie phones.
Nextel
so you could just
chirp?
Go... You probably too young for that. Barely
too
young for that.
You're a grandfather.
That was extremely popular mode of communication.
Are you?
But no, it's like you're sending videos back. It's like having
It's like
having a FaceTime. We're still following, and then it's like you can just pause the FaceTime and go live your life, and then you go back, and the FaceTime is still right where it was.
Yeah, just like
That's
sending
what
voice
that is.
memos. I understand the the of sending multiple videos.
I'm over here acting like you did not.
I've never heard of a chirp.
What?
What did you
A
say?
Nextel.
Nextel
Which
chirp.
I'm actually predicting that's going to come back in a huge way, which we can actually, that's my
anyway.
business idea. Don't take it.
Don't take it, guys.
Or if you're going to take it, hit me up and I can get involved. Anyways, she explained how she'd had a thing for baby daddy since high school, but she already had her thing with the guy she ended up marrying, so she and baby daddy were never an item. But with her marriage in shambles, she was desperate for attention attention, validation, and physical touch. She told me how it happened at a mutual friend's house.
Wait, your baby daddy?
Oh.
She took your baby daddy?
Oh.
Is that why she was like trying to like not see you because she's cheating?
I guess
with your
so.
man?
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
You're like,
because she felt
"Oh,
guilty.
I'm literally cheating
Or
with your
she didn't want you
man.
to find out.
So I guess we can't hang out because I don't want to feel guilty.
It all makes sense.
Whoa.
Sarah.
Whoa.
If that even is your real name.
She told me how it happened at a mutual friend's house, one that I was the first to invite her to, starting her many future visits when I was at work, and how from then on he was convincing her that he was in love with her, that he was going to leave me to be with her, how miserable I made him, and how happy she made him. All the while continuing to be my friend like nothing was going on. All those times she told me to leave him when I would talk to her about the latest issue, all those times I dropped everything to help her, no matter what I had going on. All the sleepovers and days at the park, they were all happening while she was betraying me, and I had no clue. She waited until I ended the relationship for other reasons to tell me so she wouldn't have been the reason for the downfall. To tell me there were other girls too, other girls brought into the apartment we shared. My safe space was now tainted, and she kept it all from me until this day. What makes it worse is that she claimed she intended to tell me the day I found out I was pregnant. She decided not to after the news was discovered because she thought my child deserves to have a father, and this might have been the time I actually told him to hit the road. Though she also thought I would just let it slide like I had many times before, and it would have just ruined my relationship with her and not him, but let's not talk about it. No, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Let's get into a little, coffee shop and say, girl, what is your problem?
Oh,
and
no.
that's where you start.
Well, I just think the amount of duplicity and stuff, because it's like, she was like, I was going to tell you, and then you said you were pregnant, and I was like, oh no, it's going to ruin the baby's life. It's like, no, you weren't really being that thoughtful.
No.
You just didn't want to say it because you thought that OP, because she'd forgiven her baby daddy so many times before, that she would just be like, well, you suck, but I'm going to stay with baby daddy, but you suck.
Yeah.
And that is what we would call selfish, because you just kept the dirty deed you were doing from her to protect yourself.
Messed up.
Not from a sense of, I wanted the children for the child.
On further reflection, stay out of the coffee shop and never see her again.
Fun fact, at least 2, if not more, people in attendance of Sarah's party, other than Sarah, knew what she had done to me and knew she hadn't told me, so none of them said anything and watched me party alongside like nothing had happened. The only respect I had for her that day was that she ruined our newly rekindled friendship so I would finally know the truth. She knew I would need to cut her off, and while I could see the guilt in her eyes, I could also see the pain. As she explained how she treated all her friends terribly at that time, and that she was a selfish, vain human who only cared about how popular she was, or if she had what she wanted. How she didn't realize I saw her as my ride or die best friend just because she thought we were regular friends. Just average everyday friends. How, I don't know, but she admitted to being so far up her own butt that she was blind to a lot of things. I confronted baby daddy and didn't get much out of it, as he didn't feel the need to explain to his now ex, and I really didn't expect much anyway. I just wanted to yell at him because I was pissed off and felt cheap and worthless after finding all this out. Though he did try to convince me she was the only one. On top of all this news, my car broke down, and I ended up stuck at work until almost 11 p.m. after being done at 5, and I had to have my baby daddy come get my daughter because of the issues.
Wait, you couldn't... Oh, well, maybe you were waiting with your car, presumably? Like AAA or something?
I assume there was...
Dang. No one came from AAA for 6 hours? Ah.
This was the very first time in the whole 14 months of my daughter's life and my pregnancy that I spent a night away from her. And it ended up being 3 straight days before I got her back. I went nearly another year before Cassidy was reaching out upon Sarah's behalf. Cassidy and I had gotten pretty close up to this point, talking most days and keeping up with the milestones in our lives. They had reconciled, and Cassidy believed that Sarah was in a good place in life after having worked to clean up her act, but that she desperately wanted our friendship back. After some pushing, I finally let Sarah just speak her mind. After some conversation, I agreed to restart the friendship on a trial basis, and now here we are, almost 3 years after that reconciliation. OP's gonna regret this.
Wait, they're friends again?
They're friends again 3 years
They're
later.
friends again?
OP is gonna regret.
I mean, I think that you can do this, but I also think it needs to be like if you need to be very clear, like if Sarah in any way starts behaving in ways that she was before with you.
Yeah, out.
Like
Get off the boat.
And I would not, don't go back to trusting her yet.
No, get on the rescue.
She has not earned your trust yet.
Yeah.
She's earned your presence, not your
That's
trust.
it. She's earned your like eye contact occasionally.
Yes, acknowledgement in some way. Just okay. For the most part, the friendship went back to the meat of what it has always been. No, wrong. Oh,
I don't believe you. She cheated. That's kind of crazy to be like get back into a friendship with someone who cheated on like took your baby daddy.
Here's what I'll propose to you. This is someone who was getting back together with the baby daddy who was cheating on her.
Oh yeah, that's bad too.
So OP's a forgiver and a kind of like letting it slide. And that's probably we could use some therapy for
therapy.
That. But we don't want to forget. You can't just go back to business as usual. It needs to be different.
Gotta be different. It's simply gotta be.
So OP says it's back to how it's always been. Only now there are scars, very deep, brutal scars. The thing about all this, I wasn't that surprised to find out I had been cheated on. I honestly got over that part pretty quickly because there were no more tears to cry. I mourned that relationship before I ever had the courage to leave. But learning about what my closest friend did to me, knowing how much denial I was in and how much I loved and cared about this dude, but still secretly working to pull him out from under me, that was an absolute bomb. But I kept going through time, just brushing that fact to the side, and we got close again. The reason I'm just now realizing how I feel is due to a conversation a couple months ago where we expressed how much we miss each other. The last visit in person was her birthday party in 2021, and how she wanted to make the drive out to see me. I felt honored that she would go through that effort. The only problem ended up being days of availability. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but my fiance works full-time with weekends off. Her and her husband, she remarried to another man, have Sunday and Monday off. On top of that, Sunday is a big relaxation day in my household, and making compromises on this is rare. We know what we like, and if we aren't both on board, it doesn't happen. She has travel restrictions based on comfortability and her family's needs, so she wouldn't be coming alone or just with the kids. Whatever plans she made would include her husband, which is not a big deal, but one thing we don't do, my fiance and I, is spend time with the opposite sex when the other isn't present. So we could accommodate a visit on Sunday by compromising on our chill day plans to have friends over and hang out. But by Monday, Sarah, with or without kids, would have to be okay with spending time without her husband, because there will never be another man in our home when my fiance isn't here.
Okay, well, like, wait. Like
Fiance's at work on Monday. No men in the house allowed while fiance is not there.
Even if Sarah's there?
Even if Sarah's there.
What? You're not allowed to be around. I thought it was just like alone together. You're not allowed to be around another man in general without your partner?
In the house. In the house.
That's still crazy.
No, I agree. That is crazy, but it's just in the house. Not in the whole world.
Okay, I was like, how could you even?
Just in the house. Yeah. That doesn't sound very.
I mean,
what's the word?
You guys
healthy?
No, this is the partner that cheated on her, right? Or is this a different
this is a different partner.
Oh, okay.
This is a different partner.
I was like, well, it tracks a little bit, but that's a weird rule. That's a weird. I like would kind of. I mean, I still don't like fully agree, but I would kind of understand like hanging out alone with opposite gender, but like just hanging out opposite gender with people.
Okay, so just as he wouldn't have another female here without me present, this is something he and I have discussed at length and agree completely on. It's our safe space, and I find it extremely respectful. And on top of that, I just personally don't feel comfortable being in that situation in my home or outside of it. The main point was me explaining to her that I would hate for her to come all the way out here to really only have one day of being able to meet up, because that's a lot of work on her part with very little outcome. Or having to ask her husband to keep himself busy on Monday and wait until my fiance is back home to join. My next suggestion was going to be to try to plan something far enough in advance that making accommodations would be simpler, but then she hit me with the "you're not allowed to hang out with me if my husband is with me" before I could express the idea, and it struck a nerve. I had to explain to her that both me and my fiance have been cheated on, and if this is a way to respect each other in a way that we always feel comfortable, then that's how we're going to do things, as well as the fact that my man has never met her nor her husband and has zero reason to trust either of them.
But trust you?
That's kind of fair, though.
I don't know, man. It's
you
their
should
relationship.
trust your partner, but
It's their relationship. They can do whatever they want in their relationship
Yeah.
as long as both of them agree.
yeah, they're both in agreement. She's like,
Tis
I'm
not-
happy about
It's not my
this.
relationship.
I don't know if it's kind of delusional though. But anyway, really they don't got trust because they got cheated on. I love her dearly and want nothing more than to see her, but it's not worth interfering with my relationship over. This man pays my way in life so I can be home with my child doing the things I want to be doing instead of slaving away at a job I hate every day. And I believe that deserves a lot of respect. That was kind of a W take, I guess. I have more freedom than I've ever had in my life, but I also have more responsibilities than ever, and my family is my priority. While I believe having the ability to spend time with friends is necessary, I don't think that I should just be able to get up and do whatever I want, regardless of what my man thinks or what responsibilities I need to be taking care of. I think it's important to consider those closest to me in the same way I would hope to be thought of. I think having this conversation really started to weigh on me heavily because I was expressing a boundary that both me and my man respect and follow, and she wanted me to make a compromise. Besides the fact that the source of most of my fears revolving around cheating produced a very skeptical mindset on getting too close to female friends because I'm afraid I'll let them in too close and get betrayed by them again, that hurts more than the pain from the partner cheating. I think I may still see her as someone with the capability to hurt those closest to her with no consideration of the consequences, and I don't want to think of her that way. I believe she isn't the same person as she was then, but I also haven't spent any time around her in 3 years, and how much of a person truly radiates over social media or sporadic snap conversations.
So your friendship is not back to the way it was.
Well, that's good, yeah.
Yeah. Like
you've had 3
clearly
years of space.
not back to the way it was at all.
I don't know how to continue the conversation without blowing up, and I didn't want to blow up the friendship when we couldn't even talk face to face, but I also didn't want to bow down and claim that I'm somehow being mistreated because I won't allow another man in my home without my fiance present. He didn't coach me to say that. I didn't ask to make it happen and get told, absolutely not. I had the conversation with him about her wanting to come and how the days off don't line up, and how I told her what our boundaries are, and he is in the same mindset as I am. Her coming over is no problem. Even her coming with her husband in a scenario where my man is here and we all hang out, also no problem, but he was not comfortable with the idea of this man being here while he's at work, or me being out with both a man and a woman he has never met, and God forbid something bad happened during the outing, along with not even having the money to really get out and do anything.
That's not true. You can do a lot of things without money.
Yeah, you can
That's like blatantly false.
you can go to the park and enjoy the sun.
Yeah, there's like
for no
tons
money.
of things that you could do with a baby. A lot of, people are saying you could take babies to museums and things like that. And a lot of museums are free.
Given the money situation, it means a visit to the house is all that's really plausible. Where I become the a-hole was I chickened out of continuing the conversation. I just ghosted her, and I still haven't reached out. I am weak, and I'm working on it, but I have never handled confrontation well, even if I am the one giving it. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like upsetting people, and I just freaked. I didn't open her last message, and by the time I gained the courage last week to finally reach back out, the messages had been deleted, so I didn't even know what she said now. So now I guess what I'm hoping for is advice on how to continue. Do I need to explain this to her and to hopefully have her reassure me of her loyalty and further explain whatever point she was making about her husband being with her? Or do I just get back to the convo at hand and apologize for disappearing? If this is the same woman who slept with your baby daddy behind your back and lied to your face for months, don't care so much.
It feels like you don't trust her in general.
What?
So I'm like, why? If you can't trust her,
Yeah.
can you keep up this friend? Normally, I mean, if you want actual advice, you should have had a conversation with her. You can still have that conversation with her if you want the friendship to continue, but
Yeah.
it feels like you don't trust her. I would say you have two paths. If you want to continue the friendship, then you have to talk to her. You have to say, hey, sorry, was getting a lot of anxiety about not texting you, or about trying to figure out the answer. We just have some rules set up with my partner, blah, 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 blah. Like, give that explanation. If you don't want the friendship, then you've already kind of ended it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's always
something
kind of
you're
messed up
really
to ghost.
pining to have back.
Yeah, it feels like
She
you don't
can
trust
change.
her.
Sarah
Yeah.
could change and be
Yeah.
a different person, someone who would never
Yeah.
do what she did to you ever again. However, I don't know. I don't think we need to be worried that much here. I think we need to be more worried about having a healthy relationship with our partner where we can actually trust each other and realize we won't cheat on each other. I truly did not mean to disappear. I was just so afraid of what her response was that I froze, fawned, and flew far away. And now I'm embarrassed for not handling it like an adult, but also not sure how to approach the situation. Or is it a friend that I may need to walk away from for my own sanity because I may never be able to see her anymore without seeing what she did to me? That you're the only one who can make that call.
Yeah, that's on you.
You are the only person who can know how you feel when you see
I mean, if
her.
you're already saying that, that might be what you feel.
Yeah, if you feel that at all, go ahead and just let her be in your past. Make new friends. And by the way, you can make new friends with your ears every day by listening to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, you little goober, and then you can listen to all the stories your little heart can take. And those are the friends you can make with your ears. Anyways, we do have a little bit more story left here. Sophia, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're OP, what are you doing?
I'm really not. I don't like to ghost anyone. If I can help, unless they're like a weirdo who I've never met. But if it's a friend that you've had any sort of relationship with, I think you should tell them the truth and say like, hey, I don't know if I can continue this friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't really trust you, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, just tell the truth. Ghosting is it's kind of almost it can end up hurting you more than the other person.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, I never said anything, and it's weighing on me. The guilt, the shame, the fear. It's like
You're just gonna keep thinking about
what
it.
you need to unload.
Especially if you're already like an anxious person, you're gonna keep thinking about that.
Yeah, so just tell her like, hey, honestly, don't like you trying to step over the boundaries that I've set. You know that I've been cheated on. I have a suspicion you know who did it because you see her every day. You wake up and look in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
So no wonder I have difficulty trusting people.
Yeah.
So whatever. Let's get into the end of the story. I'm not afraid of being cheated on again. I actually have a partner I can trust now, but I'm afraid of being hurt by someone I call a friend. Is this all in my head and entirely my own problem and I just need to grow up? Am I hanging on to something she deserves to be relinquished from because she's done the work to be a better person? Or do I have valid reasons to feel this way? I don't care if I need to be told I'm stupid, delusional, or just holding a grudge. I have to know if I'm crazy for feeling this way. Any and all opinions welcome, as I know I may need to be hit with reality and pulled out of my little bubble. Just please don't be mean.
You are not an a-hole for not wanting to be friends with a person who like cheated with your boyfriend. You don't have to be friends with her.
It's true.
You don't, like, as simple as that. You don't, if there's any part of you that doesn't trust her, it doesn't really matter if she's done the work to be a better person. She's still hurt you. She can go and be a better person with other people.
Exactly.
And you can still be like, I can't get over this. You hurt me a lot and I can't get over that. And that's okay.
Yeah.